because chat can hear my Dark Souls takes. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think From really intends people to make lore videos on YouTube. I would be shocked if until like recent years they'd ever even realized there were lore videos on YouTube about their games, because
So I have a theory.
Dark Souls is deliberately designed, and this is a thing, I know Axe has brought this up in previous like out of context conversations, but we're actually talking about Dark Souls like as an aesthetic source today.
Yeah.
But Miyazaki has literally said in interviews that his writing style was influenced by reading like English fantasy novels when he was younger and not understanding like half of them because his English wasn't that good. So like they're deliberately peppered with like proper nouns and like obscure translations or like obscure characters in Japanese to give it a deliberately opaque feel. So I don't actually think the lore is supposed to be consistent most of the time. Like, Elden Ring is probably their most thematic consistent, but even then, there's a lot of ambiguity.
I'd make an
Honestly,
argument.
I see it as it's supposed to be consistent, but supposed to be holes in it. Like, big
I think
holes.
Dark Souls 2 is a very self-contained, very fleshed out narrative.
I mean, that's fair. I think Dark Souls 2 is probably
You
internally
you
consistent.
really get the guy at the center of it all telling it to you. Yeah.
The problem with
That's
Dark
also
Souls
true.
2, Dallas, is that it's the middle chapter of what became a trilogy, which references itself. So, like, it's like, yeah, it's a self-contained story, but also they put it in the greater continuity.
I will fight back a little bit about that. I think Dark Souls 2, when you look at Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 2, that's all I'm comparing. Because Dark Souls
Different
3,
team, so yeah.
I have a bone to pick with that game in a ways.
Hey, the Dark Souls gonna be
Dark
after
Souls
Bloodborne,
1 to
yeah.
2, I don't think they were meant to be that connected. They were meant to be thematically similar, but they were not meant to be like... It was not a direct sequel. I don't even think they're supposed to be in the same
I
world.
think like the vast majority of the devs were different people. Like I think only one or two
people
people
had complaints about that, so I think Dark Souls 3 was like, all right, I guess we got to connect all of this. And
I mean, Dark Souls 3 is basically they
created
try to make
its own
one again
issues.
after making Bloodborne and taking what they learned from that, honestly, and it kind of shows.
I mean, yeah, no, I think that, like, so if I understand correctly, because, like, the Dark Souls games have had a troubled development cycle and stuff, there's a reason why there were, like, big re-releases of Dark Souls 1 and 2, because they had problems. Like, they needed, like, patch jobs later. And obviously, like, Dark Souls 2 had some major flaws that I think some people will say weren't really padded over until, like, the full DLC circuit came out and kind of, like, schmoothed it all together. But I believe that they, like, From wasn't a big, like, studio on their own. They were kind of doing this unique thing that was cultish. They made Demon Souls. That was kind of a cult hit, but it was, you know, a Sony-funded IP, and so it didn't make enough money that Sony was like, yeah, give us Demon Souls 2. So they were like, okay, let's take our vibes and let's try and improve that a little, and maybe our next one will sell better. And it did sell a little better, and they were like, okay, we've got something. You know, video game turnover rates, let's make a second one. We'll call it Dark Souls 2 because it's, like, still kind of the same underlying game and idea, but we'll work it out. And then they're like...
At this point in Dark Souls 2, the Souls IP has become a proper franchise.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and like it's better to just call it Dark Souls 2 than have to do a like, oh, it's Devil Souls or like whatever else.
You know,
Whatever. Honestly, they could have called the game Giant Souls.
I mean, yes, but I think they were realizing that, like, hey, that's not going to help our sales numbers. We'll call it Dark Souls 2. Like, we'll market it as a sequel, but video games... There was a time, chat, when video game sequels didn't have to be connected. See every single Final Fantasy game. Like...
Yeah,
see every
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I also think that 3 could have not been called... Could have been,
games.
3 is weird, where it's like, it could have just been called Ashen Souls, and it would have been the same thing.
I mean,
it's like, it's
yes,
meant,
but also,
it's
like...
everything before it, yeah.
So they made Bloodborne after 2, which was another... Like, Sony clearly went like, okay, we don't want Demon Souls 2, but can you guys give us another one of these? And they were like, hell yeah. And then they did it, and people were like, fuck yeah. And, you know, Bloodborne, a great classic of the PlayStation era, but...
Well, Bloodborne was before Dark Souls 3.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? They you know, made another game on contract for Sony, and then they were like, okay, you know, we got enough cash now, we've got some successors, let's... the Dark Souls 1 and 2 were a little rough. Let's make our final form vision of Dark Souls, and that became... Dark Souls 3, which is like kind of a sequel, like we said, both as a thematic piece and also as a like, hey, you guys remember Dark Souls 1 and 2? We actually learned a few things from that. And you know, trying to build like the best version of Dark Souls, I think, in their mind, you know.
Yeah, Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Demon Souls, and Dark Souls 3 have one very central theme that is not well hidden, and you are not impressive for finding it. Like, it's all about cycles. All these games are cyclical. Everything is about cycles and rebirth. Like, that is the central theme. Bloodborne is its own thing, so that one goes to the side over there. And same as like Sekiro
Bloodborne
and Elden Ring.
arguably has a cycle thing, but it's different. I don't know what, like, somebody should actually ask him straight up in an interview, like Hidetaka Miyazaki, like what's his deal is. Every single like Soulsborne game does have one underlying theme, which is stop trying to become immortal, idiot. It never works. Stop doing it. Just fucking die and let a new generation come, stupid head. Like, that's like the universal through line of every single one of From's like Souls-like type games is you can't live forever, dumbass. The
It's
new
almost like
edge
some
age will
commentary
come.
on like the older generation holding to the new generation or something, but that's, I don't know, that's just me.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know if he's actually in
Do we,
there, but
okay. Do we need to go into the thing about? Do we need to go into the thing about how every Japanese game just has implications about everything that they are complaining about in their culture, because that's how they do most things. They just
That's not Japanese games.
I mean,
that's
also,
all
yeah,
video
that's just
games.
media.
That's just cult. Yeah, that's just media. That's,
no.
Have you played Metal Gear Solid 2 recently? Because I played that the other week. Holy shit! The end of that game, I'm like,
Yeah, I don't think that's actually that much about.
Are you a time traveler, Kojima? I wanna hurt you if you are, because you didn't
Oh,
warn
he's not a
anyone.
time traveler. He's just pretty. He just
I
listens,
just
consumes a lot of media.
I just came off a stream where I'm going through the Limbus Company Arknights collab, where the entire premise is an Inquisition going, guys, these people from the sea are bad because they're from the sea, and they're not, and they're different. Like this Inquisition exists to go, actually, this entire race of people is bad.
Not the actual Eldritch gods underneath the ocean in that world. Not the actual reason. The actual Eldritch gods trying to consume all life in the ocean, those depths, because that's actually.
But
the
you
one
know,
there.
to lend to the theme of like.
That live in the sea, bad.
I'll finish. Yeah. I was gonna say to lend to the theme that like, as we go on, I kind of do want to say that like, yeah, all. It's funny to say this before a stream about a Yu-Gi-Oh archetype that means nothing and went nowhere. Sorry, Ashen. It does pain me. You look really cool, and we'll get to gush about the art. But on the subject of all art is inherently political, that basically goes back to like every single like narrative we have about humans. Many Greek plays, even the comedies, are about issues going on at their time. I've talked before about how, not against Ovid personally, I totally understand why Ovid was writing Metamorphoses the way he was. My beef is with people interpreting Ovid's versions of mythology as, like, the definitive story, because it's like, no. Ovid was taking classical myths and interpreting them in a very specific way because he had a huge bone to pick with the Roman establishment and Augustus in particular. He was very nettled about several things.
Machiavelli wrote the Prince under the conception that he hated everyone in the administration.
Yeah, basically, but like Ovid predates Machiavelli by a lot more, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm just saying,
all art is kind of this way. There's probably political meanings in the Epic of Gilgamesh about, I don't know, what the king of the city-state is supposed to be doing. Not fucking everybody's wives and killing monsters in the woods. He should, I don't know, be governing or some shit.
My personal favorite thing ever, the oldest written text in human history is a bad Yelp review. Spreading propaganda about one fucking dude and his shitty copper.
And Nasir and his copper. Yes,
I think there was also an older thing they found. I think there was an older thing they found that was actually like shitty corn or something. Or
like humans' first written records we've discovered, the moment humans invented language, they were like, hey, don't shop at this guy, his product sucks.
So there was graffiti we found recent that changed, like, when Pompeii happened by a few months.
Yeah, I saw that video. That is a
Yeah.
little relevant because that is
Speaking
the other sub theme of this. We were talking about FromSoft games here and kind of their history because it is no secret that Ashen is vaguely
Pompeii.
borrowing from Dark Souls games. But yes, the other major thing, I've even pulled the field spell up on here, is they are also specifically using the disaster of Pompeii as an inspiration in a way that I do actually think that Dark Souls doesn't really go.
What if Soul Eater Badir was inside the volcano?
So,
Yeah,
so
basically.
Dark Souls. All right, I used to be really into Dark Souls lore videos. I'll admit, I'm a lore nerd. I've always been a lore nerd. Ash isn't really Ash in Dark Souls. I maintain they only use Ash the way they only use Ash the way they do. One, because the graphic technology to do what Ash is actually supposed to be, which is rot and age and decay. They couldn't really do that in the early PS3, and also it would get them a higher rating.
It was PS4 by Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is what
I mean, I do want to say,
Demon Souls is.
I think there is a metaphor for ashes as, like, specifically cremated ashes, because they keep reusing, like, spirit ashes and stuff that way. Definitely since at least Dark Souls 1, there is a fire sub-theme, you know, going on as well. So I think some of the ash is actually intentionally ash.
There is a motif, but it's also, like, it's supposed to be... It's more decay than actual rot, but... Because,
centuries of time,
yes. Spoiler, the ending of Dark Souls 1 does not matter.
I mean, yeah.
Both options are the same.
I just wanted to say earlier that, like, I'm annoyed that I got fucking pushed out of the room for a bit of... How about this? I think certain cultures have a recurring themes in their media for a reason. And, like, it's not... I think it's a bit, like, reductive to say it applies to all media. When, like...
Well, it does also apply to all media. Like, that's not reductive. That's expansive. I want more people to acknowledge that their media is political, but because I would love Dark Souls grognards to admit that there may be something about the eternally aging Japanese population that is shrinking that maybe is what Dark Souls is about, but also it's a very
religion
loose...
and such like that is a continuous thing that's always in most Japanese media for a reason, culturally.
But my point is, it's every culture. My point was not that this applies to every culture. My point is, every culture does this with their media. And sometimes they critique other cultures. That's why I brought up Kojima, is because even though he is a Japanese creator, he mostly critiques the West and America specifically.
Because he consumes a lot of Western media, yeah.
Bit of a Westaboo.
Extensively.
But, well, self-admitted. Like, I'm not even making fun of him.
He's a guy. Like, I've always seen Kojima as a guy that, like, he really likes Hollywood films and Hollywood actors, but he does not like Hollywood itself. So it's like he doesn't want to make movies; he wants to make games because to him it's more about an extensive experience of that's what he likes than actually the movie.
Also, I mean, he's talked about this. He does like movies and he wants to break down the barriers between movies and games more. But also he likes games because they are interactive. Like he's been doing this for literally years. Like, I want to say as far back as like Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2.
The Sunbullet game.
You know, like just like, you know, semi-interactive cutscenes, the, you know, hidden first-person view shit. Like he likes the kind of like player control aspect to things that are normally just pure cinematics in video games. But he admits that a lot of his pop culture comes from like liking Western media. He likes Japanese things too, but it's, you know, I guess to him it feels kind of more just like, well, yeah, of course I like Japanese things. I live in Japan. Of course I'm making a sake brand. But also, have you seen, you know, these action movies, what they're doing?
Well, like, there's also a thing, like, to bring up manga. Oh my god, I don't want to mess up his name, so I'm going to Google this, because I'm not the best with Japanese names.
I don't know why that doesn't, like, names just don't say this. But, or typically
well,
like one
there's a lot of mangakas, and it's not my fault. It was the first name, by the way, that I was having trouble with. Kohei Horikoshi. He's a giant fucking Western comic nerd.
Yeah.
And put a lot of that into My Hero Academia as a
Yes,
manga.
Yeah, I think a lot of people caught that. And you know, it goes both ways. There are often, you know, plenty of inspirations from anime and manga that have made it back to American cinema. I think there's something cynical about Hollywood adaptations, though, as evidenced by the fact that we've gotten, you know, 99% of
Sometimes.
like straight up live action adaptations of like anime and manga are soulless and shitty. I think literally it's only the One Piece live action I think has been a winner.
Maybe, like, one other
I think
thing
there have
with
been
the-
others that I don't hate.
All right, name them.
Uh,
Name them right now, Dallas. So you're full of it.
No. There's one I can name.
I really like that.
and it's
Judge
because
movie.
he is a genuine fan of the manga, and it's Battle Angel Alita. Alita.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fair.
I
I
genuinely
haven't
like that
actually
movie.
I haven't actually seen the movie, but that's a decent.
I really
one.
liked. I really liked
I
the
think Dragon
modern
Ball
day.
Evolution did a pretty good job of reviving the series, even if it sucked ass. So it did something right.
It got the vibe right, but everything else, I don't think it just showed. I don't think it handled the rest well. Does that make any sense? Like,
Don't think it got the vibe right at all, Axe.
No, I think it got some characters right, kinda. I think it got Master Roshi well done in casting, and that's literally all I can think.
okay, I'm thinking about it wrong. Sorry.
I think some of the Final Fantasy adaptations have been deep. Oh, that's not an anime. Never mind. Ignore me.
Also,
I
I,
guess
mean, I
it's
actually,
weird, I
there's
think about-
Spirits Within, which was a legendary bomb which killed Final Fantasy's movie division, and that's it. You can't say any. I don't think there's been any more adaptations of Final Fantasy. Those are just Final Fantasy multimedia projects.
That's true. Okay, so literally it was just Battle Angel Alita then. Okay.
Yeah. And I
sort
haven't
of
watched
said
it yet,
that
but
'cause I
the
like
One
that
Piece
movie.
anime is strong, and maybe 98%. But most are not really good because, like I said, there's a lot of like soulless cynicism in how these things get adopted.
I think the live action. This is in Hollywood, but I think the live action adaptation of Bleach is full of a lot of hot people. I don't know if it's good, but
Well, also, sorry, I should
Everyone
also
in it is
clarify because there may
attractive.
have been some other jungled in there. I'm not talking about Japanese live action adaptations of anime because those are made, you know, in country of origin.
that's fair.
That's basically the
But
equivalent
most of them are
like
still
they-
awful. I will say
Well,
that.
also
Most of
true
them are
because
still awful.
their film industry doesn't have nearly as much money as Hollywood. What
Depending how
we
you
need
stand on it,
is
like,
is for Hollywood budgets to go to Japanese writers and directors to make these adaptations and cast with Japanese
think-
actors.
I guess my perspective is I think about some adaptions that I actually know are good, in my or at least to a point. I know Preacher was good if you like understand the limitations they had, considering how fucked like that series was originally, and I also like the modern Dread movie. The Judge Dredd movie was pretty good.
I think most people acknowledge the new Dread was pretty good.
More hit or miss. Have a higher
But,
hit rate.
Yeah, it's in general, TV is tougher than movies. Like honestly, I think part of the reason why MCU was such a big standout was, other than the fact that they were very clearly distillating, they also had more money than God. They had all the money in King Gilgamesh's treasury behind them, thanks to, you know, the House of Mouse. So they could really had no limitations with realizing their creative vision for the most part until they started making too many movies and they didn't have enough time for their SFX houses to actually spend all their money. But, you know, like I said, I would love to see, you know, a crack where you gave like even a tier, like a first wave MCU budget to like somebody in Japan to make like a Naruto movie, you know, like a live action Naruto. You might make that work.
That could work. Yeah, I think
it'd be
Naruto
interesting to
could
see
work.
it tried.
I think some adaptation just couldn't work. Like, I'm sorry, I love the series. It's my favorite manga series of all time. I just don't want a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure live action adaptation. It just doesn't
I don't want
work.
Hollywood to smell JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They're not
They're
bizarre
actually
enough.
making to make a movie about it, and it's like not that, and it's
Okay.
it's a miss.
They could make an adaptation of
tried, but it didn't
exactly
work.
Phantom Blood. and then just lock them in a cage.
Just stop.
Honestly,
just stop doing
Phantom
it.
Blood is where they could do Phantom Blood. I don't know what they could do the rest. Because there's just
No, I
scale
think
to
the
make it.
moment you go to Battle Tendency, it immediately becomes too weird for live action, and you just stop.
Okay. I think Battle Tendency you could maybe with the right director. Like if you got like Guillermo del Toro or someone weird on it.
You have,
Someone
it, has to be,
genuinely weird.
it has to be half a horror movie.
I
and
would love
yeah.
to see Guillermo del Toro take a crack at Cars: The Ultimate Being.
I'll direct a few, like, because ACDC and all his blood in his brain shit. Like, honestly, you could do it. It'd just be really fucking expensive, but you'd have to get someone that's willing to do an Indiana Jones movie that had to be, like, 2 movies, because there's too much in it to do in 1 movie.
But regardless, we really should get to the topic. 'Cause
I can ratchet this back around to FromSoft, which is there is allegedly an Elden Ring movie, like a Hollywood script in the works. I cannot imagine that going well, just because Elden Ring is effectively both a actual fantasy like superheroes tier SFX like franchise, and also has a costuming thing, because one thing I do want to say is the drip in Souls games is usually very well done. They borrow from a lot of historical and fantastical sources to make really distinctive looks, which I think is why everybody looks at the Ashen cards and go, oh, you're clearly cribbing Dark Souls notes, because
I should
there's a
I
vibe
should mention
there.
something great. Interesting tidbit.
Yeah, go ahead.
One, George R. R. Martin actually has the entire backstory written out. He was told not to put it in the game.
I mean, yeah, no, they because they hired him to
So,
consult to
also-
backwrite.
Also, every extended media of Elden Ring that has happened for the last few years have not been actually about Elden Ring. It's about people's experience with Elden Ring, because no one actually wants to touch the plot.
I mean, it's video game wise. It's like, what do you? It's the open world Dark Souls. What do you fucking write about? It's not even linear.
I mean, you could do stuff in literally during the Great War that caused the collapse.
I mean, yeah, you could do
honestly,
the Shattering War, but then also your budget's gonna be 4 times as big because all those
if you were
castles
to
and shit
do a
need to not be blown
FromSoft
up yet.
If you were to do a FromSoft game, I would imagine it would either be Sekiro or Bloodborne. Because they have,
Sekiro's getting an anime, so
through-line stories.
yeah, Sekiro's getting an anime that's actually looks pretty sick from what footage they showed, which is a great fit for it.
I heard it's AI, unfortunately, or maybe that's just a rumor.
It's probably a rumor because I watched the trailer. It didn't look like AI to me. You got to be careful, obviously, because I think a lot of studios have just said that they're like keeping their options open. I don't actually know if any major studios, like anime studios, have actually started doing AI frame interpolation or other shit yet.
Also, Bloodborne's weird, but you really could just make a fuck ton of short films in the Bloodborne setting.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't think they want
Lovecraft
to
style
do
short stories.
like we talked about. I don't think From actually cares about that. There is probably a good horror action anthology in Bloodborne. I don't know that, like I said, the From writers actually care enough to actually stitch together those little narratives. And who knows, maybe they do. I think a lot of Dark Souls' stuff is based on technical limitations. It wasn't until way later games where they would actually have the fucking engine horsepower to model you talk to an NPC, they fucking leave their house and walk somewhere in engine, as opposed to the way normally that works in FromSoft games, which is you talk to a window to a character model you can't see, so we don't render this person, and then you discover their corpse poorly modeled in a pile of mud 3 hours later when you go to a zone, because that's the only way they could actually tell the story. So I don't know. We'll see if they get on. I get on From's case a little, because I've kind of felt that I think their vibes are really interesting and their gameplay's really interesting, but also they iterate slow as fuck when it terms to gameplay. It took them until I think technically Sekiro, but Sekiro is also trying to do a different genre, so I would say Elden Ring for them to really nail jumping good jumps. And then they made one more game. They made Night Rain, and it's just oh yeah, mobility's crazy good in Night Rain. Check this shit out. Look at all those sick tricks you can do. And I'm just where was this energy for 3 Dark Souls games? Anyway, I'm clapping. Obsidian, the Ashen City. Oh, I should also say the name Ashen. Ashen did actually get ported to the OCG recently. Guess what? They added a Japanese play on words to the name.
Oh, what is it?
So
Aimitsu.
yes, it's Kaimetsu, which is annihilation, but they replace the kanji for Kai with the kanji that means ash. So it's ash annihilation, ash annihilation. The different TCG translations are a little interesting. So like depending on the language. In English, obviously, ashen is kind of a double meaning because ashen can refer to something that is gray in color like ash, or literally being turned to ash. The different language names in the TCG play with that a little. Apparently, the French and Portuguese phrasing are more towards, like, the color of ash. Literally, in French, it's cendre, which I do know is... Or centri, which I do know is just the color for, like, ash gray. The German, Italian, and Spanish are more, like, incinerated. Yeah, Incinerita. Oh, Spanish is gendered, so it's calcinado or calcinada.
You know, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Portuguese. Yeah. Cinzento is just the color gray.
Okay. So there is a little bit of punning, but obviously, like I said, the moment they translated to Japanese, they were like, wait, hold on. We got to try this better. We're starting with the field spell.
This is definitely more... This is the Pompeii inspired. Like, this is very much Pompeii.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, parts of it are Pompeii, and then I want to say just some, like, generic Western fantasy kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. The castle in here reminds me very much of, like, Lego castle playsets or, like, Castle Grayskull from He-Man kind of shit. Like, it's
no, like
for a
generic medieval castle.
For a archetype that otherwise has really, really strong, distinctive art style, the actual Obsidian is, like Dallas just said, fairly generic, but they do kind of mix and match their stuff. They've got both normal flames and purple and black flames. Ooh. So it's got a little bit of distinct flavor, but is also kind of doing its own thing. So, Obsidian... The Ashen Sitting is a field spell that says, face up, special summoned monsters your opponent controls become Pyro during your turn only. We were almost a good card. We were almost Zombie World. You can use each of the following effects of Obsidian once per turn. During your end phase, target one Obsidian in your graveyard. Place it on the bottom of the deck. Draw a card. If this card in your field zone is destroyed or banished, special summon an Ashen monster from your deck. So, Obsidian... is a field spell that recycles itself. If you have it on the field in your end phase, you can put another copy of it back into your deck to draw one. And if it is removed from the field, it tutors an Ashen from your deck. Neat. There is a reason why it has that Pyro effect, but unfortunately, they wrote it in like the most limp-wristed way possible to be that only your opponents face up special summon monsters during your turn only. And it's just like, guys, Zombie World fucking exists. You could have just made it, special summon monsters your opponent controls become Pyro type. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like, I get the like aesthetic idea and concept of like, oh, it's the volcano of Pompeii, like it's tainting. It's tainting the monsters or something or whatnot.
Or
but
everything is, covered in ash, kind of a thing.
Yeah. There is a one random little Pompeii tidbit I want to touch on that I find very interesting. Is something that I've come across in recent browsing. Is that there was apparently like relatively recent information coming out that we might just have had the date that Pompeii erupted wrong this whole time, despite there being like first-hand accounts of time and dates that might just be wrong actually.
Because it's
yeah,
crazy to pose it,
mentioned
and I'm
it
sure.
earlier.
Yeah.
There's
was it okay?
case. Yeah.
There's a thing of like, one of the most accurate people you could. It was reported on by one of the most people I think you could outright actually trust on the internet, Milo Rossi, Mini Minuteman, who was like a legitimate guy trying to teach people like history and science. And,
yeah, he's got great science communication. But so to explain briefly what we're talking about, is that recently it was discovered at a site. You can find all the scholarship, and like X said, you can look up Milo Rossi if you want to double check his video on it. He goes like the whole hog on it. and does the
Sometimes
whole
bug about it, which
very
means it's
thorough.
probably some contention or like stuff's a bit thin, but like Bio will be like, all right, man, hey, call me out for it. Good on you.
Well, I mean, it's so what we found is that at a site there was graffiti discovered that basically says, you know, I was here at a date and a time in a month that was several months, you know, different from when Pompeii was said to be erupted. Our date for Pompeii's eruption is from Pliny the Younger, who is a, you know, very reliable first-hand source because he was across the fucking bay and saw it happen. His uncle, the elder, rushed to do aid to the city and died. Like, so he should be a fairly reliable source for the date. And I don't think anybody wants to say he was, like, lying or anything. It's probably just that if he is wrong, the calendar got goofed up somewhere.
Yeah, it's also a case of people trying to go, no, like these first-hand sources were wrong. It could easily just be a case of, oh, you know, it's been 2,000 years. Like the Gregorian calendar could just be
And I
off
do want
by
to say
an
that I think,
amount of time.
I remember from Milo's
He was a
video, I
construct
think he
after
said
all.
that like Pliny's writings were like he didn't actually write down his account until like 10 or 20 years later. So I don't know, man. He could have goofed up the date. Like he could have checked the calendar and just got it wrong. But there's a couple of other anecdotal evidence.
It's a recurring thing that Pliny the Elder was very wrong about medical science.
So
Well, yeah, lots of things.
I maintain that this is just clearly a result of Doctor Who messing with the timeline again. So we're gonna get another Pompeii episode. Clearly.
That'd be
But yeah,
funny
so,
if it's like the companion wrote it in the time.
Obsidian is like a cool concept, but it isn't actually the field spell that does everything for the deck. It does almost nothing for the deck other than that it gives you a field spell you want to blow up. Why would you want to blow up a field spell, you ask me? Okay, so what if Pompeii was caused by an evil dragon with wings on his head? Vedos, the eruption dragon of extinction. And that is the original guy, by the way. Like, there's a fusion version of him, too, but I forgot that his original name is so long already. Did they design this in Japan
the names for these
first?
are a bit silly.
The way his name
It's
works in
honestly-
Japanese is, like, super compact. Metsuboryu Vedosu.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that where it's just I think it's just a nature of Japan being able to compound word like in Japanese like a phrase easily being able to become like compounded like this, like, oh, like the word for dragon is just you, Metsu is like elimination, extinction.
Yeah.
So it's just like Metsu Boryu, like you just fill in the blanks, just like it's one long word, but it is three separate terms.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh wiki says this is based on Dark Eater Madir. I press X to doubt highly on this.
Give us the Calamite.
Because for one, the dragon has like 5 eyes or whatever.
Probably 6, judging by his 3 dots
Yeah.
there.
Whereas Dark Eater Madir, I'm pretty sure is just a normal Western dragon, at least in its first phase.
I don't think that's the point. The point is it's the only dragon that, besides Calamite, is associated with like actual abyss darkness.
Yeah, I'm looking at Madir. He's just a dragon that has to be really like crusty. That's it.
Because I think he's like he
In
was
any
turned to
event,
stone.
honestly, a Dark Souls dragon he looks more like. I know it has nothing to do with the abyss, but it looks more like fucking what's his name? The Taki
What's the name
dragon
of-
from Dark Souls 1. Why am I blanking?
You mean the
He's literally
dragon?
like
You mean the dragon at
main
the Ash
boss.
Lake?
No, the talking one.
That doesn't narrow
Dark
it down,
Souls-
dude. There's at least 4 of those.
He was literally a main character. Seath. Thank you.
The scaleless. You could say the frozen
Yeah.
crystal one.
Well, he couldn't remember. No, he could. He's like trying to think of Seath's name.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have rock spikes coming out. I want to say this. This is why we are going to throw a little shade at the wiki. Because I don't actually think this guy is a singular Dark Souls dragon. I think they just
No.
kind
It's
of
just-
It's a
crunched
composite
all
of Dark
the-
Souls aesthetics for dragons.
Yeah, we were discussing this right before stream started. Like we will go through a lot of these cards. Like one or two may have like a more proper on point like design cue of a character, but most of them are just like the platonic ideal of old armored man in Dark Souls game.
Another example I want to bring for this is Revenge Red, which is literally just what if Spawn with Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's another one where they did a cool wombo combo.
But the thing is, like, Vendred is literally Spawn. Like,
I'm saying people associate other characters.
Costuming.
I mean, yes, it's Spawn of Resident Evil.
I mean, I mean, some of the enemies are Resident Evil inspired. Like you know, you got dog, bats, that kind of thing. Like there are some other things that are a little narrower.
The Nemesis.
Well, yeah, but that guy came out way later.
What I'm saying is, like,
I know, yeah.
There's only, and I think Vesper might agree with me. There's only like really one monster in all these that I'm like, there's two. There's two monsters, one fusion, one normal. Then I'm like, okay, these have very direct parallels, and the rest of them are just aesthetics.
I mean, this is a dragon I could see in a Dark Souls game.
I mean, it looks like a Dark Souls dragon.
We can, honestly, the TCG exclusives are really good at this. Take a look at, I would even say like Cosmo and UA are good examples. Like UA, sure, the pitcher they just straight up ripped the pitching at like a pose of Nolan Ryan pitching, but they did it's not like Nolan Ryan's at a Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's just a pitcher.
There's also FA, which is
card.
There's FA where it's just FA one cards.
We just use this guy as the base, and Cosmo is a lot of that. Like,
I mean, I want to say there's another one because I think wasn't Subterra a world premiere first as well.
Yes, Subterra.
But literally, I saw a character screenshot from the new Monster Hunter Stories game. It's you know, the bow user, and it's like an elven woman with a giant bow, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is just Subterra Nemesis Archer. And then my second tweet was in all caps, guys, was Subterra Monster Hunter the whole time?
Yes.
I think we made that joke in the episode, but obviously I hadn't played Wilds yet, so like that was like me being hit with the revelation of like, wait a minute.
Well, no,
I've literally used this bow.
The one that gave it away to me was I can't remember what his name is because he's not a very important card in the deck, so you don't really play it much. But the Subterra that's like a plesiosaur, the fish one.
That's Stygiokraken?
I think Stygiokraken. It looks directly like a Monster Hunter monster. No, Stygiokraken.
Yeah. Okay, it is Stygiokraken. All right. There's a couple of water ones, but yeah. So like Vados here is like clearly inspired by the fact that Dark Souls has and even Demon Souls before it has this recurring thing about dragons, and usually there is like. Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing I really like about Dark Souls dragons, because I once again, I'm a huge despite my issues with 3's story, I'm a huge Dark Souls nut. And I love the way they do dragons because they're so good at making them look like dragons, but then making them look really like unnatural and uncanny. Look in Dark Souls, even the ones that are quote unquote generic look like not of this world.
Yeah, they have ever since I want to say Dark Souls, because there was that whole thing about how the dragons were here first
Souls.
And had that's also true, but I think lore-wise they really built it up in one with like, okay, so the dragons were here first and they're like covered in like stone scales and it's real fucked up, but there was one who was born a scaleless freak, you know, kind of. So like even when they literally established an aesthetic rule for like, you know, these stone scale dragons, and then they're like, yeah, we changed it up so we can make a weird guy, and he's a boss leader. Fight that guy. He's weird.
In general, the Soulsborne dragon designs are really good at just having, like you said, like having this alien, like this alien feel to them. Like they do not resemble anything else in the world. Which I think makes them really, really interesting.
And I do think obviously that like I feel like because of the like Ash part, the wiki I should say, the fandom wiki is probably trying to draw most from Dark Souls 3. But that's also kind of a cop out because Dark Souls 3 is full of references to Dark Souls 1 and 2. There are some 2 ones in there, but yeah, there's also several, a lot of 1 ones. So
look,
like,
I don't like the way that Dark Souls 3 treated the story. It's probably very clear from how I'm talking. Dark Souls 2 is my favorite game in the series. And I think Dark Souls 3 took some unnecessary shots at 2 because of how 2's public perception was.
I think all the shots were perfectly placed and well-meaned.
You know,
but
not gonna get into that argument.
Dark
No,
Eater Medivh is just the Black Dragon Calamite again. Like he's just like, hey, you remember this boss? We did him again. We need a new cool version of him. Because that's the thing that From does a lot. But they have a lot of big iconic dragons who are all kind of doing their own, unique thing.
Yeah.
Like obviously there are a
say that
shitload of dragon,
the
like,
dragon,
bosses in Elden Ring.
who is very clearly named not Vesuvius, Vados.
Yes.
It looks much more like the alien dragons that are.
Yeah, they went out of their way to make him
sea.
weird and fucked up, like.
Which I approve of, 100%.
He's got literal wings on his head.
Yeah, no, he's got like he's got 3 sets of eyes. He has this like he has the outer scales, but the inner flesh has the fluorescent glow from the dragon breath, which I think is like basically just pulled from Godzilla, right? The Boro breath.
Oh
yeah.
There is some Shin Godzilla in here too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We got distracted by
Oh,
talking about so many thematics earlier, but I should bring that up. I did want to say that one of the things that I don't think Dark Souls is actually about is I don't think most of those games are about a metaphor for natural disaster, which Godzilla is among several environmental themes, like has gone back and forth whether he's literally
sure
about nukes. These days, I don't think he's as much about nukes.
Yeah. The bad things in Souls games are like 99% of the time because someone did something stupid. I'm fairly certain.
I've only seen one Godzilla movie, and Godzilla is basically just the personification of this one guy's PTSD in that movie. Like Godzilla represented a ton of stuff.
Honestly,
it's the country's collective regret of everything.
Yeah.
Like honestly though, that is the thing. Godzilla's having watched a few through several eras of it, Godzilla's actually a really versatile, like, as kaiju movies and Godzilla in specific are really versatile because the original Godzilla is absolutely hey, we got bombed. That sucked. And also, like, literally came out, like, I want to say, like, within the same year that also there was a big concern because due to the Cold War, we, America, were doing ongoing live fire above-ground nuclear testing on, like, Pacific Islands. And, there was concerns like, hey, guys, is, like, the fallout of that shit gonna, like, blow over here? Like, are you for real? And America was like,
right.
America, puts his corncob pipe and puts his aviator sunglasses on and says, "You're darn right we are."
It was -1.
4 more bombs. 4 more nuclear tests.
Oh, that's a good one.
But later ones are more like Godzilla becomes kind of like the personification of like Gaia's vengeance type stuff of just like, hey, humans, you're doing lots of stuff to fuck up the planet. Cut that shit out. Godzilla's gonna get you. And also, sometimes Godzilla's a fucking superhero because there are monsters from space.
Yeah, sometimes Godzilla's like
to be fair,
not the force of nature, but the good guy, quote unquote.
Godzilla will blow your city up, but also like if an ancient alien evil arrives, Godzilla will wake up and be like, "Hey, fuck you, you don't live here."
With literally one exception, 2 exceptions, Godzilla is probably the most heroic kaiju, other than Mothra and Gamera. It's pretty much
Mothra is literally a guardian, like almost like Shinto-style guardian deity. Like she's usually unequivocally good. And then
Gamera
the rest are like
she's a friend to children.
Yeah. Godzilla's level of friendliness depends. Also, sometimes also, I want to say there's also another metaphor which may also work for Dark Souls. There's this other, the Mecha Godzilla is another underlying thing that happens, which is like, originally that was just aliens are trying to pretend that Godzilla's fucking people shit up, but later Mecha Godzillas are usually humans are trying to build a Godzilla to fight Godzilla, and don't do that. Never build a Godzilla to fight Godzilla. That never works, chat.
Spoilers, it went poorly.
It goes bad. It's very bad. Was it one of the ones in the 2000s where they put, was it Kiryu that they put the first Godzilla's bones inside Mecha Godzilla, so it's a fucking haunted mech?
That sounds
Yes.
like the worst idea possible ever of
It
all
was
time.
really bad.
I remember that back when, like, I think back when I, like, watched Death Battle when they actually covered back Godzilla as a thing in that. But, another point, God, that reminds me of, this is a recurring thing in Tokusatsu, which is, Godzilla also kinds of kaiju movies are, like, the other side of that.
Yep.
Also Ultraman. An Ultraman series had a Mecha Godzilla character called Earth Garon, which is basically meant to be, like, this anti-kaiju, but basically, there was a dedicated military unit dedicated towards anti-kaiju action because it kept being a thing. So they had this giant thing called Earth Garon, which is basically just an off-brand Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, it never usually wins. It's more just good at keeping the monster from like causing civilian casualties than actually solving the problem.
Honestly,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
No,
how it
overall,
goes. But yeah, so Vados
Name
being a little
aside, I
Shin Godzilla
really like
works a little.
Vados.
Yeah, the name's a little too flowery. Like, honestly, the literal translation of
It's
Metsuboyu
not the
is just
worst
Dragon
one.
of
We'll-
Extinction,
we'll-
so it's like, that's pretty solid. Yeah,
We'll get
spoilers,
we'll
Vados
get
has
to
an
the silly
upgraded
one
form,
later.
which is even stupider because we have to give him more names. Vados Eruption
Yeah,
Dragon
we'll
of
get to that
Extinction,
later.
by the way, is a dragon who's not a dragon. He is a Dark Pyro level 9. They're all Dark Pyros. 2800
Yeah.
attack, 1500 defense. During your main phase, with cards in your hand, quick effect. Target one card in a field zone. Special summon this card to your opponent's field. If you do, destroy that card. Then you can add to your hand or set one Ashen Continuous Trap from your deck. If this card's sent from your
So
opponent's
I'm
field
seeing
to
the-
your graveyard, destroy all monsters on the field. Each effect is once per turn.
I'm seeing a problem with this deck already.
Yeah, so this is a case
deck
where
requires your opponent to play field spells, doesn't it?
it's ideal. There are spells we'll talk about later that let you give your opponent a field spell, besides just like set rotation. They literally, one of their spell cards, I think, or maybe one of their monster cards effect is place an Obsidian in either field zone. So like they have ways around it, but yes, this is a deck that clearly was designed like gameplay to be niche first and good second. So the whole point of Vados is that he appears by blowing up the mountain, right? Or blowing up the city. He appears on your opponent's side, and you must, do work to defeat him. But also, he's a board wipe when he goes away. So I get what they're going for. I do like that this card says if this card's sent from your opponent's field to the graveyard, so, like, your opponent can't just link him away because then their shiny new link monster gets blown up. Like, they have to be careful about removing him. But yeah, this is a card that is, like, very finicky. He's... First of all, for being a kaiju, not kaiju, for being a kaiju for field spells, because it is a quick effect to summon him and destroy it, so you can do this to really fuck up your opponent's field spell if they've got a good one. The problem is that they learned the wrong lesson about kaijus. Speaking about kaiju movies, this guy's way bigger than Gameciel. This guy's a big guy you have to run over if you give it to your opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so, like, the main playstyle we'll see with the deck revolves around Vados, where Vados, he puts himself on the opponent's board, and your archetype, the Ashen, fight him. Like Vados is the Dark Souls boss for your deck to fight.
And specifically, the way they phrase it is not just Ashen, but usually the characters are... Some of them aren't, but it's mostly Ashen City. So, like, they
Which is a very big win lore-wise and, like, flavor-wise, but, like, gameplay-wise, it's a bit cumberbund.
Yeah, it's...
I mentioned it with the
fucking
field
adore
spell.
the concept.
Yes, it's a really cool idea, and the aesthetics are good. I think they could have done it better by just making... Especially because there are so many fire monsters, and, like, Bonfire was just printed when this deck came out. They should have just made it a Pyro deck that hates Pyros, and then their field spell effect is all your opponent's monsters are Pyros all the time. And then Vados could still be a cool way to pop your opponent's field spell, but...
Or I could fix Vados with one line of text. Change field spell to spell trap.
That would also be pretty good.
Like, there are still some decks.
Like hell, if you wanted to make
in theory it dodges, but those are few and far between.
If you wanted to make it anti-meta for when this came out, make it say card in a spell trap zone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you can pop the poplars.
Yeah, blow him back up, and then summon a guy. It's still your opponent's field,
I mean,
but you know,
God,
it's a nuke.
If it said that, like, I don't think this is, like, I still don't think this is like amazing, but like this probably would have been an actual rogue tier strategy. Is just in that.
Yeah,
concept
like
alone,
I said, there was a little bit of
a huge touch around.
a
here.
little bit of theory crafting that I think became cope, but started as genuine theory crafting of like, there's an engine where you could play like 3 Vados in the sideboard and like 1 good field spell target or 1 good continuous trap target or something, and basically he's a hand trap that blows up your opponent's field spell, and then when they inevitably like try to link him off or get rid of him, their board gets blown up, or you just pop him.
Like I could see if field spell heavy decks ever became like the majority of the meta, I could see this being a rogue viable strategy maybe.
I
But
want to
like
say I feel
it's
like
so
the problem is
meta
that
dependent.
Ashen was probably designed by the TCG like world premiere department, who might work for the OCG for all I know. I don't know, but it was probably designed when the cash tier meta was big, and those are both super field spell heavy, like all those Visa Starfrost type things.
Oh right.
Honestly, this dude here is like very much like, oh, this looks like there's just like some character in Dark Souls somewhere. Not
Yeah, this
not
is-
an actual one, but like
This is
got
Spearhead
the
of the
vibe
Ashen
down.
City. Yes. Like, clearly this is a guy who looks kind of like a Dark Souls. His grippers are out for no reason.
I mean, I think most of them are barefoot because I think it's just
He's got a weird... He's got a weird spear that's kind of like part dragon bone, you know, part obsidian and other shit.
It's like a layered.
No,
dragon too.
hey, you stick butterfly wings on him, and this is just my Dark Souls 2 standard look.
He's got like hair.
Yeah,
like,
the
this
armor
guy's got a
does look
good-
like
good
Dark
stuff.
Souls. It does look like some Dark Souls armor.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
like again, like something we cannot overstate. The longer we go through this archetype, Konami really nailed again the platonic ideal of the Dark Souls look. I don't know
Like,
how
I
to
want
phrase
to
it
say
other
even
than
down to
that.
the fact that like I
No,
think
that's
all
correct.
of their whatchamacallit, like all of their major characters have their faces covered, because that's a thing where like FromSoft has shitloads of helmets and masks they put on NPCs, despite the fact that every NPC has a face. Yeah, like almost all of them have face meshes.
It just sometimes that doesn't matter. It's more about the armor's more iconic.
I know.
It
It's
depends
just
on the
like
game. I think there are some NPCs in Demon Souls that literally don't have a face.
Well, but
probable,
you never
but
take it
by
off.
by Dark Souls, like any character that uses a player mesh skeleton, like they use player set animations, they probably have a face modeled under there. Most of them just kind of look random. Some of them are like, you know, much more detailed. I feel that's why there's a certain amount of thirst for Sorceress Selin, is that even though she wears a dumb mask all the time, she's hot under it.
Aesthetically, this looks much more.
Before she like destroyed herself.
Aesthetically, this looks much more Dark Souls 2 than anything, because Dark Souls 2 has the thing that if you don't use a matching armor set, it looks like you're a bondage stripper, because all the armor fits weird, so you just have gaps of skin everywhere. So that definitely has that nailed down here.
I do want to. I'm going to jump ahead of you, Dallas, and say I do want to call the fandom wiki out, because clearly they ran out of gas when they got this far. They're just like Spirit of the Ashen City. I don't know, weapon-based characters. Cool, great, good job. You shouldn't even bother putting that on the table, guys.
You've described every ally you meet in Dark Souls.
No,
And the
not
majority of-
necessarily. There are some of them are casters.
The majority of player-based builds, especially in Dark Souls 1, spoiler, magic in Dark Souls 1 is bad, except for Pyromancy. Pyromancy's good.
I guess you could argue this is the protagonist. Like that's the closest you can get, but that
I was more thinking this is like
Well,
this would be the poster guy on the art.
This is much more Dark Souls 2 to me than Dark Souls 1 or 3.
This
Just
guy's
because
got
also, like I said,
this guy's
the-
got a spear, so I want to say this guy is probably, because there's no way that Konami thinks past this.
Ornstein.
This guy's probably a lancer. He's probably a supporting protagonist.
He could just be a summon. He could be just a recurring summon.
Yeah. It's also not Ornstein because he does not have nearly the helmet for it.
That's fair. Orange team was like.
I do also want to
like
say
golden as
I
fuck.
think this guy is like an ally type guy because he looks like he's roughly human sized and shaped.
He
there are
looks like-
actually a
he
few of
looks
the
like
guys who are like big and buff.
He looks like the various quest NPCs from Dark Souls 2 and 3.
So this is a
Like,
Dark Pyro 4.
Miri or
Miriel, yeah.
yeah, people like that.
We should go to the next one before. Or we should go with the
Yeah. So this is a Dark Pyro 4. 1700 attack, 100 defense. Just feels so wrong in so many ways. Not even 1800 attack. They're not even fire type, but he's a pyro that's got 100 defense. What are you doing, man? If Obsidian is in the field zone, any field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Spearhead once per turn this way. If your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack, tribute this card, target a card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. You can only use it each once per turn. So yeah, honestly, saying that he feels like a recurring summon in fights is like, yeah, probably. Like, this guy literally, like, appears when you're in the battlefield, and, like, when the boss shows up, he sacrifices himself to do something, which is how most of my use of summons goes in Souls-like games. You, tank for me.
Mega, how's Life of P's going for you?
Unfortunately, I haven't played it much this month.
Hey, Soler, I need you to distract these gargoyles for a minute.
But yeah, no, like that's how using summon in Liza P has gone. Is usually I'm like, all right, you draw a little boss aggro. I'm gonna try and work on staggering
Honestly,
this guy.
I probably should have done. I forgot. I didn't know how to do it at the time. I probably should have done it when I got stuck at the game and haven't played it before.
But yeah, Spearhead is like, I get what they're going for, but this is unfortunately an Ashen card, which is like built for you to be doing the Vados thing, and it's like, is that
if you're
worth
doing the Vados thing, it's good, but like.
It is technically, it's generic as well. Like, it's if your opponent controls a big guy, 2800 or more, it works. But also, it's one of the things where it's like, why would I want to go like +0, to get a targeted bounce of my opponent's big guys? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's doing enough.
Isn't it a card they control?
True. You don't have to bounce the big guy. I'm just saying that, like, if you don't bounce the big guy, that means you're down a monster and your opponent still has a guy with 2800 or more attack. Like, it's I get what they're going for, but it's a little tricky.
I can see the goodness of this card, but once again, it really requires buying into the strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine effect on a card, with a restriction that on paper you're like, oh, well, that's going to happen all the time, but the problem is always getting to Vados, and
it's getting to Vados and also getting to Vados in a way when because Vados summons himself by popping the field spell, so it's like you need the field spell on board to summon him, so like you gotta like summon Vados as like your last thing, sort of a thing. Like then you pop your field spell, so it's a little chaotic.
Yeah, the archetype is unfortunately very very self kneecapping a lot. It's really frustrating.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the spell traps because some of those also have good art. There's a few ways so they can work out, but yeah, it's got a lot of, it's a little too fair for its own good without just being a pure advantage engine. This is Shaman of the Ashen City. The wiki says magic based characters.
Yeah,
I mean this looks like Dark Souls spellcasting sets. I'm pretty sure several of the games have spells where you summon little skull boys that chase down your enemies.
Yes. In Elden Ring, they have that, but not good, unfortunately, because the necromancy stuff is not great. But this does make you think of like a weird. It's because if I have like
unfortunately,
like
in
a
Souls games,
pyromancer or like a dragon soul dancer kind of thing.
Unfortunately, in Souls games, there is a rule, in that is magic is either underpowered or overpowered. There is no middle ground.
It varies.
I mean, the schools of magic
no,
vary,
it doesn't.
Yes,
it does. It's in Demon Souls and Dark Souls 2, magic is overpowered, and in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, magic is underpowered. It's just a fact.
I thought Dark Souls 1 was fine in Dark Souls 1. You just gotta know what spells to use, right?
No, it's literally the worst build in the game, statistically. Especially holy magic. Holy magic is especially bad.
Okay, to me, okay, that's different though.
Well, Crystalline magic is also awful. The only magic that's even somewhat passable is pyromancy, and that's just because it's free. But once again, all of them are beaten by hit thing with big stick.
I think it probably is a factor of balancing. Magic, I think, so in Elden Ring seems coolest, but even then they have underperforming schools. My thought there, sorry, was just like, I was just like, so what Axe is Axe said that about like they have a lot of problems, with different schools being balanced and stuff. And then, Dallas, your attack on his leg, I'm like, so FromSoft should just make a game that's nothing but sorcery. They should make a Souls-like where magic is your only option. There aren't big fuck-ass sword builds, period.
Oh, like, here's the thing. Dark Souls has I think this is fine. Dark Souls has never pretended to be a balanced game.
Also true. Like, I think they do patches when, like, something happens because of an error. Like, there was the famous bleed dogs, for instance, right, in Elden Ring. Which also is why bleed katanas were really strong, so they, like, smoothed that out. Yeah. This is a really cool armor set. One thing I do want to bring up, just because this is the official Master Duel art, which I think means this is her official TCG art. While there's no cleavage shown, this woman has a surprisingly large rack, and I'm pretty sure you can see her belly button under her dress really good, which is, like, shocking for a TCG original archetype. That was not, like, desensorized for the OCG, which does actually happen, by the way, sometimes.
One touch on her her name in Japanese is sorcerer and not shaman, but
okay.
I guess like really good design. The tattoos are a good touch on like on the limbs.
Yeah.
This like do all of the actually do all of the characters aside from Hero have gray hair?
I think they are usually ash colored, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's like a running theme of like I guess all these side characters have the ashen hair color, and that makes our hero with the more fiery hair color stand out. So yeah, I think that's the intent here.
Yeah.
She's got some little vajras, she's using casting implements. It got a very spooky mask on. But yeah, we're chilling. Good design. So Shaman's effect is she's another level 4 Dark Pyro, 1300 attack, 1200 defense. Again, not that it really matters, though there are obviously Pyro, like, extra deck monsters you can play that are rank 4s. But she says if Obsidian is in the field zone, you can special summon her from your hand. You can only do this once per turn this way. Target 3 of your Pyro monsters that are banished during your graveyard, shuffle them to the deck. If you shuffle an Awakened monster, add an Obsidian from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. She is a crappier Royal Guards.
I think she's actually pretty good. I think she's actually pretty decent, because most of the builds I've seen of this deck are very heavy fusion focused, not necessarily Pyro focused. And there's a lot of fusion cards that fuse by banishing from graveyard.
That's
so
fair.
Can
that's
kind
fair.
of like
they do have
reset that.
Two archetypal fusions, I think, fusion monsters, I should say. So that makes sense. I do want to say though that, like I said,
the
this
decks
is like,
I see are like go heavy on like other fusion archetypes and add them in. Like I've seen Ashened Destiny Hero, Ashened.
They're all darks.
Yeah, Ashened Predaplant. Because a lot of the Predaplant fusions you can do with just dark monsters.
It's true. And
I think Shaman
monsters.
is a really good recursive tool. That's easy to proc because like you just have to have one Ashen card as material of your 3 targets, and you get the bonus. So this is really good recursion. This really keeps the monster pool alive. I wouldn't say this archetype has a shallow monster pool, but we could use more if we like.
Yeah, it's that's I think a problem that a lot of world premiere archetypes have, which is like they only have so many slots like spread across 2 sets, and they need spell trap. Like if you're making a deck, you need spell trap support. That's just how it is. So like you get a little diluted. I really what they should probably do is they should like switch to maybe like it probably wouldn't be great because they'd probably have to do less cards overall, but switch to maybe like 3 waves of support so that you can get like a little bit extra monsters and a little bit extra spells. It like you know how deck build packs come out and then usually there's like an extra monster and an extra spell in like the next core set. We need like the reverse of that, where after you do 2 waves, you need a little bit extra sauce to fill some gaps. I joked to the saying that she's just worst Firestorm guards. It's not actually true, but it's pretty close. Royal Firestorm guards is a Pyro that when normal summon, target 4 Pyros in your graveyard, shuffle them back, draw 2 cards. You probably play that in this deck, by the way, even though it's not a Dark Pyro. She is she shuffles from Banished, which is good. The problem is that, like, unless you're shuffling back an Ashened to add back an Obsidian from your deck, assuming your Obsidian is in your deck in the first place and not they're all been blown up, the recursion she adds feels. I think the recursion she adds feels weak because she just puts back your Ashened back into the deck. That's not that great, but that's me. Knowing that most of the Ashen monsters are not that good, I guess. There's potential in it, I think, but it feels like with the knowing what they have to work with in the deck, you're like, oh, I get to shuffle back 3 of my guys. Okay.
On paper, because of the recursive effect, it's just it's the matter of the archetypes pool.
I feel like if the right card gets released, or even the right archetype, this card could be useful. Like, if another Pyro Fusion archetype gets released, I think that this card could be useful.
Yeah.
But right now, it's just not there.
All right, so this is one of the cards that I think is probably... You've got a decent case for, like, what sort of character this is supposed to be the most. This is Priestess of the Ashen City.
Yeah, this is one of the 2 that it's like, okay.
I do want to say, we talked about hair color. It's interesting. She has kind of an ombre type effect where, like, the ends of her hair are clearly still dark, but the roots are kind of, like, ashy.
Although technically, there's not a specific character because it's, like, 2 or 3.
I mean, I think the note they're taking from the most is probably the Firekeeper from 3 because of the face mask. But they're also they're doing the Konami thing where, like, yes, it feels very much like you see the mask and you're like, oh shit, it's Firekeeper. But also they like completely inverted the color palette from the Firekeeper because she has, you know, dark hair and a light colored dress.
I would argue it is not more the Firekeeper, it is more the Maiden.
I mean,
Maiden in Black.
The Maiden in Black is also the fire the fire equivalent. Is also the Firekeeper equivalent.
Yes.
There's always been the level up lady.
But she is not called a Firekeeper. She is called the Maiden in Black.
I know, but also like the Dark Souls 3 Firekeepers also are an homage to. They're also the Firekeeper, but also an homage to the Lady in Black. So it's a whole. It blurs by that point.
I mean, I do want to say also though, like, I mean, you can say it's the Lady in Black, but like. The Maiden in Black is not, again, it's not as close a one. I think it's the haircut, I guess, is probably the most like it. But the Maiden in Black, it does have covered eyes, but they're covered by, like, wax. You can still see your face. The mask is, like, that it's... I don't want to say it's literally, because it isn't literally, and that's a word that's gotten its definition. But, like, fucking look at the Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3. It's her fucking mask.
That's what I'm saying. It's more of a composite of all of the Firekeepers, with probably the exception of the Emerald Herald, because she's different.
But also, like I said, okay. Well, thanks for showing up, Max. Technically, it's also, like I said, though, they do a thing where they, like, invert the color scheme because, like I said, she's got a white dress, and most of the level up ladies, I think, dress in dark colors in Soulsborne games.
So the Firekeepers technically dress in white, I think.
Do you normally dress in?
Or no.
I thought they were kind of like red.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Well, the Emerald Herald dresses in green, so that one's easy.
Yeah.
I cannot remember what the Firekeeper from Dark Souls 1 dresses in. She locks herself in prison the entire time. The one.
Yeah, I think actually, and that's the funny thing is that, like,
red.
Because that's the other thing that's funny. We talked about it where, like, there's usually a level up lady. That's actually, like... Dark Souls
No,
1
yeah.
is
As
weird.
far as clothes go, it's much closer to the Firekeeper from 1. So that's why I say it's a composite, because it's kind of got the hair from Demon Souls, the mask from 3, and the clothes from 1.
I do want to say that I have thoughts and not concerns, but maybe questions about the where we found this artist, because once again, this guy draws cloth clinging to human skin in a very particular way. Has a lot of practice
What, you
with
mean
it.
it's a hentai artist?
Probably not literally,
Probably.
but I don't know where they would have picked it up.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it's true that there's less, like, pull about that in Japan, but yeah, there's certainly distinction to this style, but this is like an all right one. I feel like it doesn't have as much identity as like Shamaness and Spearhead, because it feels very much more like you look at this and go, oh yeah, this is just like a Firekeeper type lady.
No, but this is, it's very clearly the Firekeeper.
She has an obsidian, orb. That's cool. Is it a Konami orb? Don't know.
It's just like a crystal.
The background work in this is like really good. Like the starry skies and the volcano and stuff, like super high detail work.
It feels very ominous.
Yeah,
is a good like framing of this.
Yeah. Hey, guess what, Chad? This one's important. This was like the one that like right away they
this
were
is like the main card.
So Priestess is another dark pyro effect. She's 1200, 1300, basically reverse stats from Shaman. If Obsidian is on the field zone, you can special summon her from your hand. You can only do this once per turn. If this card's normal or special summoned, add an Ashen from your deck to your hand, except Priestess. You only use this as Priestess once per turn. There she is. She's Stratos.
Yep, she's a searcher. She's your auto include.
This is the one that you gotta max out at 3, and I'm pretty sure when they added this deck to Master Duel, she's like an ultra rare. I feel like Ashen was like for Master Duel was a case of a great misstep, where like they tried to give Ashen like normal fucking rarities like they do in Master Duel, and it's just like, nah, don't do that. These cards aren't that good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Actually, I forgot to mention it because we got distracted by immediately talking about Dark Souls. I did want to say we don't have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! News to talk about. They did release a new solo mode, which is interesting because it's both Fire King and Mermail Atlantean. That also means that it's kind of suffering because they are modern Fire King and modern Mermail Atlantean. So basically, no matter what side you're on, and you do get to play both sides, but no matter what side you're on, you're facing a real-ass meta deck. I posted a tweet a couple days ago about being like, who decided to play against Fire King, a real tiered meta strategy? And if you've noticed, just today, I've also tweeted, who decided we have to play against Mermail Atlantean, a real tiered meta strategy? But because we do solo modes, I genuinely can't remember if we've done Fire King or not. I think we have, but I don't remember it well. But also, we may not have talked about all of them because there's been like 2 or 3 waves of Fire King support since then. I'm pretty sure we
definitely
haven't sat down.
I'm almost positively happy because I definitely would have put forth Fire King as something to review.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know when we would have done it.
We have not done Fire King. Because I don't think there were enough monsters at the time.
We had to have.
Like I said, I genuinely don't know, and even if we did do it, there's like I said, I don't know when it would have been because there would have been several waves of support. I am pretty sure we didn't actually sit down and do Mermail through Atlantean. Like we've talked about it, but I'm pretty sure we haven't actually run that one back, just because it's a lot of guys. But I feel like I would remember if we talked about every single fucking Mermail. Oh, we did do Fire King. That was number 106. So yeah. We did do a Fire King episode at some point, but I have no idea what it was.
And like parts of Mermail separately.
Yeah.
Like different episodes.
Yeah. I think we did the Mermail like old cards. Like I remember us mocking the Fail Whale.
Actually, that's true. Yeah, we had a Fail Whale episode, so we may have done.
We discussed old Mermail Atlantean. There was new support that we probably had. We had probably touched upon when they were released, but we never like fully reviewed.
Yeah, so Mermails and Atlantis was even earlier than Fire King, so I'll have to go back and double check those streams to see when they cut off, and maybe we will do a return follow-up episode, because, like, I'm pretty sure when we talked about Fire King, I don't remember if Ponix was out then. Definitely, I don't think Ulcanix was out, and also they added, like, 2 or 3 new Gardenixes. Like, I was shocked how many fucking different variations of Gardenix there were playing that solo mode.
I will say this: I think it's very appropriate that the Firekeeper / Maiden XP is the main character, because at least in Demon Souls and Dark Souls 2, they're kind of the main character because you don't speak.
Yeah. No, the
cursed.
Good.
No, I was just making a reference to Dark Souls 2.
No, there's
line.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of these moments where, like, these guys are, like, obviously, you know, doing a lot of talking for you. I think, like I said, I feel like From is really slow to iterate. And honestly, thinking about it, I mull this over in my head, my opinions about FromSoft games. I wonder if maybe for Dark Souls they were slow to iterate because they didn't feel like they'd made the game part of the game right until maybe Dark Souls 3. Because, like I said, Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 had development troubles with, like, bugs, strungled content. Like, there was a lot of shit cut out of Dark Souls 2 that got added back later as DLC and shit. So, like, maybe they didn't actually try and, like, improve their game until, like, they were like, okay, that worked as intended. Now we make a different, a better, we build upon it. I guess we'll see what they do with Duskblades.
I mean, because for me, I am of the opinion that Dark Souls 2 is not a sequel to Dark Souls, it's a sequel to Demon Souls in disguise. Well, and because it shares a whole hell of a lot more parity with Demon Souls than Dark Souls.
We did talk about it where, like, Dark Souls 2 feels like it was supposed to be a thematic sequel to arguably both of those games. They just don't have the rights to say Demon Souls without a Sony logo. And they just didn't want to call it something different because their game was already a niche freak game. So, like, changing your franchise title is not going to help. So they called it Dark Souls 2. And then that kind of like, I think, formed that relationship where, like, you kind of split the fandom because by making 2 games that were not direct sequels, you kind of built a thing where, like, there is, I think, not that I've actually, like, played a lot of either of them. My FromSoft experience is I played a little of Demon Souls Remastered. I've put a decent number of hours into Elden Ring and Bloodborne, and I'm okay at them. I just don't have the time to commit to playing those games when I have other RPGs I need to play for 100 hours. But I've never actually played any Dark Souls games, like, outright, but I've seen people play them before a lot. I think there is an argument to your personal preference as to whether you are Camp Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 2. I think they are different enough beasts that you can be in either and be purely subjective. But I think that's what they realized with, like, when they made Dark Souls 2, they realized they'd caused that split, and so they were like, okay, we'll make a third game, and that will kind of be, like, our vision of bringing everything together. And it just turns out that the vision was leaning more Dark Souls 1 than 2. I believe Axe brought it up earlier before he left, but 2 was, one of those cases where they made it with a lot of different team members than 1.
No, I understand.
Look,
Dark Souls. Okay.
I have a dislike for 2. I never enjoyed it when I played it. I'm more into Dark Souls 1 and 3, but
it's fair.
I'll poke fun at it because I feel like we've had this discussion maybe 20 separate times on Failed Portrayal, Dallas.
I enjoyed Dark Souls 1 and 2, oddly enough.
I'm 1 and 3.
Sekiro. I really like Sekiro.
I
probably
really
my second favorite from. But
I enjoy the gameplay more some outer mechanics that I bounced hard off of.
That's fair. That is the fair. Sekiro is a great game with some frustrating things you have to do in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but regardless, I do think that this is very appropriate being the main card.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, other than maybe Dark Souls 1, the, like, Firekeeper / Maiden / Emerald Herald / I can't remember what she's called in Elden Ring, is, like, your main point of access.
Is it just... Well, that's her character name, but is it just... Maiden, or is it specifically the Finger Maiden?
No, the Finger Maidens are the old women.
Yeah, the old ladies. There's a joke in Elden Ring where you are immediately called maidenless, which, you know, yeah, FromSoft, you know what's up. You know what your fan base is like. And then, you know, when you do your first rest at a site of grace, you know, Melina shows up and is like, "Oh, you're tarnished without a maiden to help you out? Don't worry about that. I got your back. Here, have this magical whistle that summons your mount, and I don't know, go forth and do stuff. Okay, thanks, bye."
Yeah.
Which is funny because we talked about like how there are different levels of main characterness. Melina is probably a pretty important character in the wholeness of Elden Ring. Like, again, talking about how I don't know if they've even solved all the holes in their own lore. I'm pretty sure everybody agrees that, like, Melina is probably one of Marika's kids, given her role in the story. And that or some bullshit with the Glowmide Queen that I do not want to get into because it's confusing because it's not a whole thing. They didn't write all of it. Or at least From didn't put all of it in the game. Axe brought up earlier that, like, George R.R. Martin did, like, a complete treatment of the backstory of the setting and world, that naturally, for FromSoft to preserve their ethos, they kind of just, you know, piecemeal put in the actual game product. But, like...
Yeah, like...
Melina is a major character no matter what. What exactly that means, though? Meh.
Yeah. I would say the one that is the most...
There's most certainly a full package of what Elden Ring is, but we will likely never see the whole picture of it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've pulled our big chungus up on screen. Go ahead, Dallas.
It's the bit. Yeah, I would just say the most main character ones are probably the Maiden in Black and Shanalot. Shanalot? I can never pronounce that name. But yeah. Regardless, here's Old Man, who is definitely not Gwyn, and I do not know why they think it's Gwyn.
I mean, he's got a beard and he's on fire, I guess.
He just looks like generic, this is the big warrior build. This is the strength build.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Gwyn, first of all, has a beard that's like 3 feet long.
I mean, I think there is a merit to call him a Gwyn, but he's called King of the Ashen City. So, like, if we take the scale that the Ashen City, Obsidian, is, like, just a city and not, like, most of the Souls settings are a little bigger than that, other than Bloodborne. You know, scale-wise, I think he's supposed to have a role similar to Gwyn in certain backstories, but there are Dark Souls games that do have a lot of kings.
Did he summon? Did he summon the dragon? Because if that is so, then yeah, no, he's like Gwyn. Spoiler: everything in Dark Souls 1 is Gwyn's fault, pretty much.
I do like this almost spectral essence on the king. Like,
oh no, I love this art.
A lot of them have that kind of like glow, but I feel like the way they've put it on King of the Ashen, it makes him look much more ghost-like. It reminds me of
maybe that's intentional. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. It reminds me of how they animated I forgot his actual full name because everybody's names in the games that's not Link and Zelda is confusing, but the king from Breath of the Wild, like when you actually like when he like drops his old man disguise and is like, "Yes, I'm the Ghost King, Link. You don't remember shit."
Ghost King man.
Yeah, like he has kind of a translucency to him.
You mean Rome bus form is Hyrule?
Yes, thank you. I was gonna be like, it's like something like a sound Rome. And then I hope he went. I hope he went to Hyrule Heaven because they don't mention him at all in Tears.
He's probably fine.
Is his ghost still haunting the platform?
He's just still on the platform. Hello.
He's still
Anyone
cooking
remember
apples.
me? I'm still
I hope
here.
I hope at least we took in between the games. I hope at least we took Zelda up to the plateau so she could say goodbye to her dad's ghost or something. Anyway, I would write a Legend of Zelda game very differently than how they've been writing them recently. Anyway,
I really hate Breath of the Wild.
I don't hate Breath
of the Zelda fan.
As a game, I really like Breath of the Wild.
I hate what it did to the franchise.
I feel like Tears was a little too close to being an up-jump DLC that I did not find it as enjoyable to play Breath of the Wild, but now you confuse things. I'm like, that's Nintendo, that's really cool. You built a really cool engine that I can like make rocket ships and shit. I'm playing Legend of Zelda. I don't care about that. I want to do dungeons and solve puzzles and fight bosses, and there's only like 4 of them. Wolf has definitely muted himself. He's clearly either getting a phone call or he's just so upset about our conversations about Zelda. Anyway, King of the Ashen City.
Sadly,
there are
old
several.
is pretty bad.
There are several old king type guys in Dark Souls, most of whom suck somehow. Whether it's, oops, everything is Gwyn's fault, or like there's this whole thing with like all the different kings in Dark Souls 2 who are almost all fuck ups in some way.
No, Omega. There were 3 really shit kings in 4 really shit kings in Dark Souls 2, and then the King of the Ivory Crown, who is just a fucking bamf, because the gates of hell opened in his back door, and he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna fight here for the rest of my life.
Yeah. There's one baller.
It's really funny.
But no, usually, again, talking about how I'm not actually sure if it's hard to say whether, because like I do think Dark Souls probably means something about this, and like I said, somebody should just straight up ask Miyazaki, like, hey, you have a recurring theme here, what inspired this? Like, is it a real life thing or was it a piece of fiction he read? I suspect that his disdain, like the game's disdain for kingship figures, is more to do with a generic message about absolute monarchy, and also probably just tropes in pre-existing fantasy books that they read. But usually kings are not great. I mean, even in Elden Ring, it's like the number of like good lords are like few and far between, and I'm pretty sure that if you do their side quests wrong, they can probably die.
I mean, arguably Vendrick was a good king. His brother and his wife are both complete assholes, so he kind of got screwed. But
he got fucked over. But like the game, the spoilers for Dark Souls 2, guys, a game that's like 15 or 20 years old. The twist of Dark Souls 2 is you think it's oops, all Vendrick's fault, and then you find him and he's just like a mindless guy wandering around his own palace, and it was actually his wife who was the true final boss the whole time. Which I think is a good
play on
expectation.
Secret second twist, it was his brother.
Yeah, the double secret second twist is we added all the DLC areas, so we had to add the true final double boss.
And then you talk to him, and then you travel to the past, talk to him. He's like, "Yeah, shit's fucked, buddy."
Yeah, no. So King of the Ashen City being a card that's not good makes sense. So this is a Dark Pyro 8, 1400 attack, 2700 defense. You immediately can sense a problem here. He doesn't even have enough defense to not get blown up by Vados. If Obsidian is on the field, you can special summon him from your hand. You only special summon King of the Ashen City once per turn this way. During your main phase, special summon an Ashen monster from your hand except King. If your opponent controls a monster with 2800 or more attack, you can summon from your deck. Instead, you can only effect once per turn. At its core, this is not a problem card. It's a free special summon if you have the field spell on the field somewhere. He is a piece of extension. He immediately summons another guy during your main phase. If you did the Vados thing, he summons from deck, which also popping Obsidian summons from deck, so like potentially you can flood the board with a lot of guys. The problem I think with this is that once again, the problem is that King of the Ashen City would be super busted if there were ashened monsters worth summoning this way. Like, arguably, the main thing this would be good for is, like, if you did the Vados strat and you didn't have a Priestess on hand, you go King, summon Priestess, get a good card. Like, the deck suffers...
We have the starter, we have the recursion, we have the, like, extension. We don't have the piece to do all that with.
Yeah, like, currently the best card we've seen that's actually reactive is, what's-his-face? Spearhead. Spearhead is a removal. He's a bounce. But he's a removal where you go +0 because he has to tribute himself and only works if your opponent has a big guy on the board. So it's like, what are we getting with King, right? Like, what do we get with him? Nothing so far. So there's no point. Like, he is a piece that would be good in other decks, but doesn't do anything in his own deck just because there's nobody to summon. Probably the best card to summon is actually our next one. The big boy himself. Yes. The Hero of the Ashen City. And Hero of the Ashen City, you'll see his card in a second. He is very unique, I think, both with the way his mask is designed, and also he's got big fucking, fire red dreadlocks. Like, he's rocking a very distinct look for the rest of these guys.
He immediately stands out as the protagonist.
Yeah, being called Hero and having a distinct look makes you go, oh, this is the cover guy. This is John Dark Souls. Like, not literally John Dark Souls, but, like, he is that role.
Well, yeah,
he's
he's
got a big
obviously
fucking
the
gut sword.
protagonist, but I think calling him the Chosen Undead, because, like, there is a very specific image of what the protagonist, like, defaults look like, and he doesn't really look like any of them, because they usually look like generic knights.
He is a little bit of a big muscle boy.
It's the platonic ideal of the title character.
Yeah. No, he's
But
definitely the protagonist,
what
but
I wanna
he's not...
What I want to say is that, like, the thing, though, Dallas, is that you're right that the protagonists do look generic, but they look generic in their own art style. For Ashened, this guy is, like, generic, because he's wearing all the same stuff that the rest of the guys are wearing. Like, he's got, ropes and bone plates and a blue skirt. Like, he fits in with the rest of the style. Yeah, nobody's wearing shoes. Honestly, arguably, I'm looking at these cards up close, that may be more of the actual Pompeii style, because, like, a lot of these guys are wearing, like, Roman-style, like, togas, robes, and, like, shifts.
No, this guy gives very much Roman, and actually he gives Samoan energy, but I don't think they went for that on purpose.
Maybe with the tattoos, but yeah.
I just also mean the pose.
Like I said, the art team was probably, even if though this is a world premiere, the like art and dev team, like, thematically making this was probably Japanese. So there's quite a few Samoan wrestlers. So if this guy is doing a wrestle, yeah, I'm gonna say this guy's doing a wrestle pose. That's just, again, lots of Japanese pop culture does that. It does wrestling references.
That's very fair.
He does have a big ass gut sword, because that is also, like, again, thematically Dark Souls and many other FromSoft properties are very heavily inspired by Berserk.
Yeah.
So he's a big chungus.
It's a kind of cyclical. It's a cyclical Ouroboros of reference, where between Dark Souls and Berserk.
Yeah.
So Hero of the Ashen City has stats like a protagonist monster. He's a level 7 Pyro. He's 2,600 attack, 2,100 defense. It sounds about right for the zone. If Obsidian is on the field, you can special summon him. You can only special him once per turn this way. During the main phase, quick effect, target a Pyro on the field, destroy it. If you destroyed Vados, place an Obsidian from your deck face up in your field zone. You can only use each effect once per turn. This is probably their best monster so far. If it's your turn and you have an Obsidian already on the field, your opponent's monsters are all Pyros, so you can blow up any of them. If you want to get rid of Vados, you can get rid of Vados, blow up your opponent's board, if they have one, and then cycle back into your own Obsidian, which lets you keep extending. We talked about how, like, if you summon Vados by popping the field spell, you can't special summon with the field spell anymore. So, if you've got Hero and Vados and an Obsidian in your hand, you can, like, start doing some moves. He's still not great.
Pretty much...
Good.
I would say this pretty much eliminates the use of the king for me, personally.
I mean, you could hypothetically play king as like a one of, because your idea would be, what if you have Vados and king but don't have hero, and it's like, well, then you summon hero from deck and then go.
I guess
The problem is that like this is a fusion deck, so other than the fact that you have a decent number of 4s, so you can actually make the Pyro rank 4s that matter, because like I said, there's a couple of those that like search Pyros and stuff, Infernal Flame Banshee, Infernal Flame Queen, shit like that. You don't worry about levels, like there's no tuners, so you're not synchroing. There's no like shared levels other than 4s, so you can't like overlay hero and king because they're 7 and 8, and Vados is like 9, I think. So like, there's no reason to play king because there's no greater synergy. There's no in-archetype links, so, and they're darks, so you can't use all the, like, Year of Fire type links that were coming out during that time. It's like, make Dark the Dark Charmer or bust, I guess. So, like, there's no reason to play extra bodies and names just to play it. What was that, Dallas?
you could make SP Little Knight, I guess.
Yeah, but literally anybody can do that, is the thing. Like, that's just too much.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
there's no reward to playing more bodies, basically.
Yeah.
I guess if you get 4 names on field, you can do IP and SP to make access code talker.
It has plenty of just solid material, but the kind of problem is immediately apparent right here, where we're done with the monsters and there's no clear piece that stands out as, oh, this is the build around. This is the thing I want to do. And you can't say Priestess because Priestess is just the starter that every deck should have.
You have a starter, you have a recur, you have 2 pieces of removal between hero and spearhead, and then you have king as an extender. Cool, great. What are we doing with that? What do we have 2 pops? We have, or a pop and a bounce? What does that do?
Maybe there are answers. Maybe there are answers in the extra deck.
Well, we'll look at him. We'll look at him. But yeah,
Trying to set you up.
We'll pull him up. But yes. So clearly, I mean, that would be in general, if you've played enough Yu-Gi-Oh, that is kind of the thing you get to where you're going to be like, okay, so the main deck isn't great, but it gets us a decent number of bodies. So like, you know, probably there's something, right? There's something, right?
What's the end goal? What's the end goal now?
Well, they do have, I mean, they technically have 2 fusion monsters, but one of them is a Vados, not an Ashen. So we'll talk about Embers of the Ashen first.
Yeah.
So, like...
I get to bust the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki's balls here. I really do.
Go for it.
Because there is not a single card in this archetype, even the Fire Keeper one, that is more of a direct reference to Dark Souls than this card. Because this is just Artorias. He's doing the Artorias pose with the Artorias sword.
He does have a big-ass sword, and he is kind of doing the pose, yeah. If he had a dog, it'd be obvious. Shit, give me
I will say I do not like this art.
No, this is Embers, I believe, was a second wave. This is clearly taking the gimmick too far. So, clearly the idea with this guy is that, like, everybody in the Ashen City is fucking dead, right? Like Vados wakes up, blows them all up. They're dead. Embers looks like all their ghosts got together and made a guy literally out of obsidian. Which I think I agree that Dallas is correct that saying that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fandom wiki is like, oh, this is the soul of Cinder. It's like, I mean, I get that he is called the Embers of the Ashen, and he's like on fire, but like thematically, only a little bit. Like maybe if this is actually the amalgamation of every single Ashened guy in one guy, that is kind of what the Soul of Cinder is.
I just need to say that. I just need to post this because, like, he's just doing the Artorias pose.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yes, no, you're right. He's just doing the pose though.
What we're missing is a spell or trap card where he's flinging a motherfucker at you.
Or spitting it like a Beyblade.
Yeah, but like,
God, Artorias sucks.
You know,
No response to the game.
I agree.
I'm looking at one of our spell cards, and it's extinguishing the ashen. I think this is our fusion. Yeah,
Okay.
and it basically shows Hero getting covered in obsidian, I believe, is what's happening.
Okay, so no, it's Hero's super mode kind of a thing. Then yeah, that's not really Soul of Cinder.
No.
Like,
oh no,
I'll
the
say this
other one is
for
the
Soul
even
of-
funnier one. They're like, oh no, it's clearly Slave Knight Gale. I'm just like, maybe it's the person that Slave Knight Gale is a direct reference
I mean, I
to.
do want to
The
say,
fucking thing
I
this is.
suspect that the way the fandom wiki started is they think that this whole thing is a direct reference to exactly Dark Souls 3, probably because Priestess was the first one shown, and everybody saw her mask and went, or like everybody online, I should say, went, oh, Dark Souls archetype, Firekeeper, point, DiCaprio point.
Yes, it has to be Dark Souls 3.
Yeah,
And it's like,
It's such
the
a-
Ashen
not
City makes
really.
them think of the Ring City.
It's
So,
such a
no.
direct pose, though, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
it just drives me nuts.
And I will say that
Like-
that thematically could work for Dark Souls to like take your protagonist and then it turns out your protagonist, the protagonist wasn't the protagonist. You're the protagonist now. You're nobody, and that guy who was supposed to be the protagonist, he's fucking 15 feet tall
He
and
lost.
can do sick kick flips. He didn't accomplish
God,
anything in his
Artorias.
life, but he's gonna kick your ass like 40 times.
Genuinely, in Dark Souls 1, I think throughout the entire series games, boss took me the most tries. I think it was something like 40 or something.
Yeah, that's fine. He is the wall,
So hard.
and he's handicapped technically.
God, I'm fighting Artorias right now in this fucking Arknight's Limbus collab. I hate him. I'm not even joking. Let me fucking find him.
The fact that I'm hearing Arknight Limbus collab, and I'm fighting Artorias. Like, wait, hold on.
I'm not joking.
So
I mean, Artorias, I think it's fair to say, Dark Souls might have been, like, not the most mainstream game, but Artorias, to me, is the thing that is culturally osmosized the most from this game.
it's either Artorias or his dog. Like
That's
the
true.
notes of Sif's like boss theme are like
Sad dog with a sword just did become a thing.
and like I said, hey Konami, where's Hound of the Ashen City? Come on, give me a dog.
Okay, what the fuck is?
For some reason in the Arknights collab, I'm fighting this.
That
Okay, that
is
is
just
just Artorias.
what the fuck? Why is this in the Limbus Arknights collab?
He's the last knight of the Sea Terrors, and he freezes me to death and kills me. I hate him.
I assume he is from Limbus Company.
No, he's from Arknights.
Oh, okay, I'm
He is-
wrong.
Arknights can be a little weird.
He is apparently like the Sea Terrors of the Church of the Deep, like a person, but also like he's just this like wild hunt manifestation. I think is the idea.
Okay. But yeah, no.
Embers of the Ashen, by the way, it's a wild name in Japanese, but also I think gets the effect across more. Like I said, I think that the fandom wiki got a little too into it. The Japanese name means ashen shadow of a former self. They just have a phrase for that.
Yeah. Which is even more Artorias, but okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do remember though the OCG names came out like a year later, so.
I understand, but it
The,
is just
the,
like...
the fandom wiki just never fixes itself. Embers of the Ashen is a Doc Pyro fusion monster, level 8, 2900 attack, 2400 defense. Just enough to beat over Vados. Now, technically, his materials are super open-ended. He's just 2 Pyro monsters. I feel like they shouldn't have done it. They made the deck too fair. They should have just made it super powerful and then, like, I don't know. If turning all your opponent's monsters into Pyros and then you just super poly them away was too good, then you should have fucking banned Super Poly again, Konami. I don't know. It's a card that people don't like.
That anyway, but
possibly. I don't actually think that there's any good Super Poly running decks, but it's just
make,
it is
just
an
make a
card.
Super Poly that's a normal spell, and then it's honestly the only problem with Super Poly is the fact that it is a quick spell. If it was a normal
quick
spell,
play
I
that you
would
specifically can't respond to. If it was
Yeah,
just a quick play
that's the
spell
other
that you
problem.
could respond to, or if it was a normal spell that you couldn't respond to, I think it would be fine. But the fact that it is a quick play spell that you can't respond to is really annoying. But Embers of the Ashen generic materials. If this card is fusion summoned, target a field spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's Pyro monster, destroy that opponent's monster. If it's your turn, this card can make a second attack. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, basically, this is supposed to be the payoff. The payoff is you give your opponent Vados, you summon out a shitload of guys, that searches somehow a fusion spell, and you fuse into Embers. Embers punches Vados. Your opponent's whole board blows up, and this guy can attack directly. Cool. He's only got 2,900 attack, Konami. The game's not over, Konami.
I mean, like, this is a cool monster on paper and design, but yeah, he's 2,900.
It feels like this is missing an effect.
Yeah,
Like I'm waiting for you to list the third effect.
they've
Well,
given
they
all these cards like
removed-
a strong theme of recursion, right? Because you need Obsidian so goddamn bad. But why does he have the generic ability to add a field spell back? That doesn't fucking do anything.
They're missing an effect, or it needed more attack power.
Yeah, no, like it's just not. It doesn't feel big enough and bossive enough, especially because, like I said, it's just like, oh no, battles an opponent's Pyro. You know, you can blow it up. It does wall off Vados a little well, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like we've come to the conclusion, chat. We went through the whole thing, right? We went through the whole line, and then we're like, here's their big scary boss monster, and then we read it, and it's just like that doesn't do anything, Konami.
Yeah, this is one of the even by like 2020 standards, this is bad. Let alone 2025.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem of them. I feel like Konami, a lot of Konami's design, it's a toss up between this like experimental style where it's either really bad or really good. That really bad segment has kind of ended. Where now we have, we say this every week, fucking week at this point. Cards that do things, they're good. They clearly have figured out how to design an archetype, but they always miss the boat on they seem to consistently miss the boat on hitting on that great boss monster, that great main thief.
Konami understands now. They've been doing it for 25 years. They understand how to make an engine. Most archetypes have an engine inside them, something, a wheel that goes round. There's a very obvious engine to Ashen City, right? You see them all and you go, okay, so if you started with like a handful of nothing but random Ashen cards, you could probably do something. You could blow up some cards on the board. You could puke like 3 to 5 monsters onto the field. Cool. And then you go, wait, what does that do? And then the answer is, unfortunately, oh, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah. This Yu-Gi-Oh's design is always very frustrating to me because they have such good ideas for concepts, and then their execution is so bad a lot of the times. It's kind of the reverse of Magic right now, where Magic is doing a lot of concepts that I'm like, I don't think this is gonna work. This seems stupid. But then when you get to the cards, it's like, oh, no, okay, this works. Still a stupid idea, but it worked. Spider-Man.
And Konami, occasionally when they throw darts at the dartboard, they will do a brand new unique thing that's not been done, and you're like, oh, that's sick. Whether that's just, for instance, the new deck build coming out, Killer Tune. I will not call it Cool Tune. You will find me dead in the street before I say that. But Killer Tune is they're just like, fuck it, tuners can synchro with each other. You can tune two tuners to make a tuner synchro, and it's just like,
Why
oh,
not?
that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Like Konami just realizing that, like, wait a minute, our rules are fake. We made them all up. There's no rules saying that we can't do this if we say we can do it. You can just make the materials to a synchro monster, you know, two tuners. Other really interesting
Oh
concepts
my
are
god! I did not realize how that was spelled. Oh no!
Oh, you didn't know how they're spelling
God,
cool tune?
no.
It's bad. It's very bad.
Oh,
Or
that's
another deck
really
that actually
bad.
I forgot to mention this when somebody actually asked on Mailbag last week, but they were like, "Oh, hey Mega, what Genesis decks would you try out?" Radiant Typhoon just came out in the TCG and is completely unhit on Genesis. We'll see if it's any good. That's a deck of like winged beasts and other stuff like tri-types that searches MST and can make MST negate and also has synergy with just quick play spells in general. And I'm like, that's a really cool idea. Like, they literally made an archetype to search the classic MST, and they were like, what's the meme everybody says? Oh, MST negates / MST doesn't negate. We'll literally give you a continuous spell that says if you activate Mystical Space Typhoon, chain this effect in response, negate a face-up card. MSG negates now. Cool. Why not?
That's hilarious.
Why not? Why not? Just
Yeah.
fuck it. Do it. Who
Like
cares?
I said, I really like some of their creative ideas. I just think it's way too hit or miss.
Speaking of creative ideas, this design fucks.
Yeah, so this is Vados, Dragon of Endless Darkness. Again, the OCG name actually is better because it has like one less application here. They don't even call him a dragon anymore. In Japanese, he's just Hatanaki Yami Vadosu, Vados the Endless Darkness.
Also, this is not Dark Eater Midir. I do not care what the fucking.
Also, yeah, no, that's wrong. This is a Bahamut.
Yeah, no, you know what this is? This is a FromSoft reference, but it's a reference to their fucking like mecha games. Like not Armored Core. I'm talking about what the fuck is it called? Because I love these fucking
He
games.
does have
Another
little
Century.
options. He does have
Another
little options,
Centuries.
little bits.
Looks like
But
a
also,
Gundam.
yeah, no. While I do believe that they are correct in guessing that this is basically like the boss goes phase 2, right? Like that's
But it's
probably
just
a pretty
like
good
Dark
thematic
Souls
pull.
bosses do.
But this is not specifically any Dark Souls bosses phase 2. This is phase 2 of the Vados boss fight. And like I said, this is just Bahamut. This became a Final Fantasy 14 raid in the middle. Like he's actually standing upright. He's still got like 6 eyes and head wings, but how he's posed and how he's holding his body, he looks much more like Euclidean, for lack of a better word. Like I understand what he looks like a lot better.
It feels like it just feels more the first phase is feral and this is more I guess focused or something.
Yeah.
You would call it.
And he has cool bits. Like I said, he's got little fin funnels. Like he's got little floating obsidian balls with him.
The souls of the damned in his wings.
Yeah, that's a really cool look. That his bony broken wings are now made up of spooky soul faces, which he can probably shoot out at you like that one guy. He has a really annoying projectile attack that I fucking hate because he tracks you, obviously. But like this is sick as hell. So this is, like I said, this is Vados Mark II. This is Fusion Vados. He is a Dark Pyro Fusion monster, level 10, 3k attack, 1700 defense. Materials are Vados the Eruption Dragon of Extinction and 2 or more level 9 or lower Pyro monsters. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Your opponent can't target it with monster effects. Which, to be fair, if this was 2024, valid.
This
like
should just be on the card for a 3-mat. I feel
like just like it can't be destroyed straight up, and it's just untargetable by monster effects. Not perfect because sinful spoils of subversion exist, so they could just put them in your back row. But like being targeted by monster effects is still, I think, the dominant case. So all right, pretty good. If this card is fusion summoned, you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. Just fuck you, Feather Duster. Which, by the way, I have to double check. Is regular Vados destroyed or sent to graveyard? It's sent to graveyard, right?
Yeah, something grave.
Yeah. So
Or no, I think it should just leave the field, isn't it?
Kobe leaves the field. It's definitely it's not just destroyed on your opponent's turn. So it does basically mean that if you super poly or otherwise fuse with materials from both boards, a Vados you summon to your opponent's board into big Vados, that's just a whole board wipe. That blows up their monsters and their back row.
It is Disintegrate.
Okay. When your opponent activates a card or effect on field, quick effect, send a face-up ashen card you control to the graveyard, destroy that card. And he goes, this effect once per turn. I'm channeling my direct.
I'm guessing this was the second wave of support.
Yes. Both fusion monsters I think came out in the second wave.
Yeah, because this is an actual boss. This is a boss monster.
They're
this
trying,
works.
but I do feel like I want to channel a little of my direct Krennic here and just be like, it was this close to greatness, this close. It's a pretty good concept.
I have one thing to
Go
say.
ahead.
I have to go. I had one thing to say about this. I'm sorry.
All right, go for him. Yeah, we'll talk about spell traps. Thanks for tuning in for a couple hours.
This turns Vados theoretically into a full board wipe.
Yes.
The problem is at that point you're committing like 5 cards for a board wipe.
Yeah, it's not a really good engine. It's a nice try, but it's not good. I want to say, like I said, we're this close to greatness. This is a pretty good boss monster. Definitely, if it was 5 years ago, this is a pretty good, definitely a really good boss monster. He can't be destroyed. He can't be targeted by monsters. He blows up spell traps, which actually is relevant again. My main problem is that I know that there's a meme about negates, but I kind of want to say, where's the negate, Konami? Because, like, okay, he has a quick effect to respond and destroy. That's pretty good. That's most of the way to a Ryziel Detonator. The problem is Ryziel Detonator's not once per turn, chat. You can just keep destroying.
Yeah.
This doesn't actually
I
negate the effect. It just pops that card.
I still think this is a good card, mostly because of how I know we just talked about the card that should be banned, but this card does make the fact that you can super poly into this pretty easily, because of the field spell is pretty nice. You could just be like,
it is, and
hey, those
but
two
I do want
problematic monsters, they're gone.
I do want to say it is they basically tried to make the field spell, like, the reason why the field spell isn't just Zombie World is because I think they were always planning on making this Vados. They just, because of the way the sets come out, they didn't reveal him right away. So they made the field spell fair for Super Poly, because if it was on both players' turns, you could just set Super Poly, and then when your opponent builds their board, you just slurp them all up into Vados because he's a quick effect. And yes, that's fair. You probably should have just banned Super Poly and just made this deck better so you don't have to play around Super Poly, but the TCG probably doesn't make those decisions.
Hear me out. DNA surgery.
I mean, if we're doing this shit, you might as well go all the way, right?
Yeah.
Because like
Just lean right into it.
this theoretically, if you can get it to work in your favor, this is like the best payoff to Super Poly right now that there is.
I mean, yes, but also you don't even need, again, because we mentioned this, you don't even need to like Super Poly your opponent's board. Just Super Poly away the Vados. Then when he hits the graveyard, he destroys all monsters your opponent controls. And then when you summon Darkness Vados, you destroy all spell traps they control. Like, it's just, you just save the Super Poly for just the right time. And as Vesper said before they left, it's a full board wipe.
I understand. I'm just trying to make this work, and it's not like I said, this deck isn't like utter garbage, useless crap. Like,
honestly, like on a face of it, Vados, like I mentioned before, Vados as like a kaiju for field spells, good idea. Field spells are really fucking annoying. A lot of them are banned or restricted, and a lot of cards that search field spells are banned and restricted for that reason. Like, field spells can be really irritating. If Mystic Mine wasn't already banned, Vados would kick the shit out of it. Just the moment your opponent activates it, you just go, quick effect response, Vados, no more Mystic Mine.
You know what? You know what I think this deck is to me?
Yeah?
And I think it's unfortunate. This is one of those decks, similar to other decks I actually like a lot, that you cannot play on its own. You have to smush it together with another deck. Because, like, I could see builds of this deck, like, I could see you doing, like, some weird, like, Destiny Hero shit like that I've seen. I know you hated Omega because it's a deck that will not die. You could make a really cool branded Ashen's deck.
I think that is the copium that people did. The problem with that, Dallas, for Brandon specifically, is Branded is already the deck that won't die. You don't need to put anything else in Branded. You have enough Branded cards. You can just play Branded.
But Omega, but you can.
I know.
That's my point. Is like this is a deck for people like me that like making weird like Frankenstein monster decks. If you want an efficient through archetype like deck, I think this is just not good.
Yeah, no, and I feel like you're correct that like this is clearly designed as a gimmick deck, and they probably understood
the deck for the slop connoisseurs like me.
The gimmick is a gimmick, and to see if people would make it work. The problem is that at least for the meta when it came out, there was not a good enough package to put with this deck that made it actually outperform decks that were pure. You know, this was early 2024, so this was like the height of like Fiends with Snake Eyes.
This is a rogue bullshit strategy, like at its ceiling.
Now,
like,
what I would
at some
say
of the deck belts here. Omega, what would you say to Ashen Skystriker Volcanic Kengen Dark Magician?
That guy's getting in a locker. I'm gonna give you. You show up with that deck list at locals, I'm giving you a fucking swirly. God, with the Kengen engine too. That is such. You are right, Dallas. That is a slop brain. I think slop's a little overused, but that is truly just like fuck it, we ball. Oops, all engines.
Like I said, Omega, this is for people like me, and I don't want to compare myself to MBT because I think that's weird and parasocial. But I think we do share the quality of like
MBT is a no Magic connoisseur.
We are Magic players, so we do just look at cards and go, but that could work with this thing and this thing.
I think that is a little bit
promote together in a blender.
It's modern anyway. That's more of a Magic thing. Yeah, old school Yu-Gi-Oh was also kind of the same way, but we have evolved past that. I mean, I will say I'm not afraid of bouncing engines in there. You know, talking about like I was just thinking to myself like, oh, is there an Ashen build for Genesis? You know, the point build rules that they just announced. But actually, I don't know if you know about Dallas. Last week they announced a new Yu-Gi-Oh format, Genesis, they're calling it. People are saying it's similar to Canadian Highlander and Magic. Yes, it's very interesting. It seems like they're planning on supporting it because for like a week they posted a shitload of blog articles and they posted a new one, you know, on Monday today. They might have, or yesterday. They might have posted a new one today.
If they support it, there are two ways a new archetype can work. Is if the company supports it, or if the community supports it. If they're going to support it, I'll support them supporting it.
I mean, they say they're going to run side events.
Dual Avatar Destiny Ashen.
Oh, God. Talking about unfulfilled potential. Those are two fusion decks that didn't have it. I mean, if you put them together, it works. But yeah, no, Genesis, they seem like they're supporting. Like they're going to do an all Genesis YCS in 2026. So, like, they're trying. They're trying.
We'll have to see if EDO Pro ever updates their things to add Genesis, so that way we can do it against each other.
Point Buy has never really taken off
on a system ourselves.
Yeah. The Point Buy has never really taken off that much in Magic.
I think it's a good case for Yu-Gi-Oh because we talked about it for like an hour last week. But it does the thing that we've talked about on failed portrayals where like you can adjust point value so you literally cannot play card A with card B. Like all floodgates are like 100 points, you know, so you can only play one copy ever in main, extra, or side kind of a thing. Like, yeah, you can play Shockmaster now in Genesis. He's 100 points. You can't play anything else that costs points. So you have to find, you know, the most dog-ass rank 4 engine to play Mr. Shockmaster in.
Gadget Shockmaster Turbo.
So I wonder if Ashen like has room because guess what? You can probably play like a couple of terraformings, maybe some Planet Pathfinders. You can probably play like maybe 3 copies of Bonfire as your Pyro searcher. Like you might be able. Also, hell, Genesis is a really based format because they made Pot of Greed like 30 points. If you've got a dog shit deck, you can just play 3 copies of Pot of Greed. Graceful Charity's like 40. Most decks can effectively semi-limiting it. If you're not playing anything else, you can play 2 Graceful Charity. Who cares?
I like to think I'm going to do something cool, but I already know what the first deck I'm going to build in Genesis is.
What is it?
DDD?
It's going to be DDD. Yeah, it's going to be DDD.
Yeah, brother. I mean, I think most of your DDD stuff is relatively unhit, so you just get to play DDD but with Pot of Greed or some shit.
What about Z-Arc? Is that any of that unhit in Genesis?
Probably
I mean,
not.
it is
Probably the
unhit, but also
fusion one
you
is
can't.
hit, I would assume.
Also, Loth, you can't play Zark properly, I think, because there's just no pendulums and no links in Genesis. They changed the
Konami really does hate pendulum cards.
I think it's a little bit of that, but also I think, Dallas, it's a simplified system because they went back to the old style board, so there's no pendulum zones, no EMZ, basically, is why there's no links and no pendulums.
So wait,
they like
pendulum cards are banned, or just playing them as pendulums?
no pendulum cards period are not allowed because there's no place to place them.
Oh, okay, I'm not playing DDD then. What the hell?
Yeah, you can't actually. That's right, you can't. Also, like I said, no links.
Never mind.
We may get a version of Genesis where they change the field
I'm gonna
back,
be honest,
but
I am very significantly less interested in it then.
I think they did it because they wanted to simplify the board state, and that just so happens that it also, for Yugi boomers and people who like see memes about Endy Pendy or Pendy Endy.
If you think Pendulum is too complicated, you're too stupid to be playing TCGs.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
probably
Just
the
hold
problem
on.
is that
hold
like
on.
genuinely
If you have-
Pendulum is like the hardest mechanic to grasp. Not to say that it is actually
It's not,
hard,
though.
but it is the most difficult. I mean, Dallas, name what summoning method is more complicated than pendulums? Off the
Okay,
top of your head,
summoning
Yu-Gi-Oh.
method, yes, but mechanic, not at all.
I was gonna say, people complain that Pendulum's too hard and that it should go away, and then immediately start doing whatever bullshit 15-minute combo it is just to do tier limits or whatever. Like, fuck off.
No,
People like tier limits.
like the hardest mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh!
I like pendulums.
I'm gonna say this: the hardest mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I say this as a Magic player, so maybe I'm biased, is trap cards, and specifically timing and activation restrictions that are not printed on card. The most complicated part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not what's printed on the cards; it's what they didn't put on the fucking cards.
I mean, that's fair as a Magic player, but like I said, most people with the anime and stuff is like you can grasp the concept of the trap card. Pendulum is like Pendulum also has the unwritten rule problem though, Dallas. That you've just blamed yourself. Where on a Pendulum card does it say that it goes to the face-up extra when it's destroyed on the field, but not anywhere else?
That's just a rule.
But that's the thing. Pendulum has weird rules, right? It has weird extra rules
But they don't. It does have extra rules, but they're not like. What I'm saying is the way trap cards work is fundamentally different depending on the trap card, without any actual rhyme or reason. Like, why does Gozen Match work the way it does?
Oh, well, that's a ruling thing, and that's just kind of being stupid. Like, nobody actually likes how Gozen Match is ruled, but that's a thing that for Dallas, guess what? We can solve that really easy in Genesis format. Gozen Match is 100 points. So people aren't going to play it. Like, it's one of those things, right?
Timing and ruling restrictions will always be harder to me than any kind of summoning mechanic.
Also, by the way, I want to bring this up because you can play I think last turn is like 50 points or something. We actually got new last turn ruling for Genesis. Somebody asked a question and they're like, actually, based on all of the years of ruling since last turn was banned, you can't activate last turn if your opponent can't special summon for any reason. Because it's a trigger that they're supposed to special summon. So if they can't do that, you can't flip last turn. Boom, done.
So can they unban it now? Because then, if that's the case, the card's actually kind of not great.
They might be able to ban it in the TCG. It's just a question of, like, because Genesis has no FL list, like, everything is technically playable at least one copy, I guess, hypothetically, they could price a card at like, 101 points to price it out of the standard format, but, they probably won't do that. But, like, it's an immediate thought where, like, Dallas, the moment they announced this format, people were like, mwahaha, this fun format, how can I make it unfun? What's that? They didn't put enough points into Dyna Pachycephala. You know, oh, they left last turn at 50 points, and like they tried to figure it out.
Of course.
They immediately adjusted the points. Like people were already trying to come up with a Mystic Mind deck, and like they immediately made it so every Field Searcher is at least a couple of points, and Mystic Mind is 100, so like you can't play them together. You know, shit like that. Hand traps are usually cost like 10 to 15 points. Some of them are a little cheap. Like I think Effect Veiler's like 7 points.
Droll and Lock is 5.
Yeah, Droll and Lock they actually made cheaper to 5. I'm not a huge fan of that, but also if you're playing Genesis, it's probably lower power. It's probably okay. The worst Molchamri is like 5 points. Yowls.
I'm just utterly disappointed that like Pendulum cards are not in.
Oh no, I understand. Several people are like that. Like a lot of people who are playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh, like actually playing TCG, are kind of like, okay, this format's cool. I'll probably do some brews. It would be nice if Links and Pendulums were in. But like I said,
Links I don't care about as much because I feel like you can.
Well, guess what, Dallas? You don't get Pendulums without Links.
That's true.
That's
what?
Well, unless they go back to MR3.
Links.
How you summoning them from the extra deck? You don't have link arrows.
I mean, I get it. Honestly, I don't care as much about like pendulum summoning. I just wish I could put cards that have pendulum arrows in my fucking deck.
Well, and like I said, that's the thing. Like, it's a chain reaction where, like, I think genuinely they probably started this by going, how can we simplify Yu-Gi-Oh so people on the internet shut the fuck up? Well, we'll get rid of the EMZ because that's weird. And like, I think that Link Monster and like
already a failing proposition. They'll never shut up.
Link arrows are actually like, and the EMZ is actually like deceptively technical because everybody's like, oh, well, you know, it's like you start making Link Monsters, you ask, oh, what EMZ do I play in? And they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. You can put them in either. It totally matters though. Arrow placement's actually like a big deal, and like can absolutely fuck you.
If I'm going to be very pedantic, another summoning mechanic that I actually think is less intuitive than pendulum cards is XYZ. I actually think Xyz are less intuitive than pendulum.
You're crazy. That must be a magic thing. It's so easy though.
It is. Well, no, it's easy once you know the rules. But if you handed me with like no knowledge of Yu-Gi-Oh, if you handed me Xyz, I would do them wrong 100% of the time.
How would you do them wrong?
Why does detaching not cause graveyard effects to trigger? That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It does though. It only doesn't work on from field to graveyard effects because they're not on the field; they're under the monster, and that's just because if they.
That, but that just I know why it's a thing because balance it would break the game, but it is not an intuitive thing that it doesn't work.
I mean, true, but also Dallas, that's not you doing the mechanic wrong. That would just be you fucked up a trigger until you learned it. Like Xyz summoning is baby simple. It's probably next to Link Monsters the simplest thing to perform an Xyz summon. You just go, monster say 2 level 4. Me have 2 level 4. Scooch together, put monster. Done.
Yeah.
Like it's real easy.
Regardless, people that complain that pendulums are too complicated are stupid and mentally challenged.
I mean, I agree. Like the meme about like you're a grown man, read the damn card. Like Pendy Endy is like a jump scare only to idiots. He doesn't even matter.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, oh, you don't want to fucking read? Well, guess what? I dub you an anti-intellectual cretin, and your opinion is ignored. Go back to your caveman.
Also,
I'm a magic player. We never read.
Also,
I'm not afraid of it.
Anyway.
You're playing a fucking card game where you gotta read to see things. What did you expect?
It's the fucking Arthur DW meme. This sign doesn't mean anything to me. I can't read.
This is why they explain what Pot of Greed does so many times, because people don't fucking listen or retain
reading
things.
the card explains the card, but we don't read.
No, but yeah, like I genuinely think that like Soy Boy Pogface, YouTubers and stuff who are like, oh, look at all the reading on this card. This isn't like my old school Yu-Gi-Oh. First of all, old school Yu-Gi-Oh is opaque as fuck. Show them uneroded darkness approaches where you can flip monsters into face down attack.
Is that one guy that MBT got into a beef with about it, and then it turned out he was like a Nazi or something?
I I don't know if it was exactly that guy. I don't actually know because
Andy Pants. Yeah.
There have been several people who have Yugi Boomer takes. I feel like the big one was Act Man, and that was shit like Ass Trap and stuff like that. I don't know anything about him. Dallas, we can say this now. It's just the three of us. We can say that I would not be shocked that the trend of anti-intellectualism and fear of words is associated with crypto-fascism. It's almost like fascist ideology thrives when you're all stupid. When you're a moron.
Well,
that's how you're manipulated easier, chat. If you're stupid, you're easier to manipulate.
Your country seems to be the only one that's not socially regressing right now.
I mean, there's still a lot of idiocies happening over here.
There is, but compared to the rest of the world,
I feel at least like you're not doing a right-wing backslide. Australia has just still got Australia problems.
Yeah.
You've always had your own shit going on.
We for some odd reason, people really listen to goddamn Karen soccer moms when it comes to, but the children though, and it's like, shut up.
That's a problem.
Times over what we have now.
Well, no, Dallas, because that's also happening here, but also we suck. Like it's. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the fucking like censorship of media and shit. Ashen for Eternity. This is a continuous spell card or trap card which you can search off of Vados. It shows Vados is awake. He's gonna blow up everybody. Also shows at least one guy who's not a card. There's some kind of shield guy in this card art. And there's no shield guy main monster. Utter failure of Konami. But this continuous trap says when this card's activated, you can add a Vados or an Ashen from your graveyard to your hand. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls that you own, take control of that monster, then make all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to target monster's original attack. This attack change lasts until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Ashen for Eternity once per turn. You can only activate one Ashen for Eternity per turn. So this is just remove brainwashing, but also adds back a Vados from graveyard. So like, if you search this card with a Vados pop or whatever and set it up, you can get your Vados back. You can add another Ashen monster back. It does, like, lower your opponent's attack by taking back your Vados, which can be pretty strong. But they still have all the material, so, like, it doesn't necessarily, like, win the game on the spot. And the attack changes only until the end of the turn.
It's a good card. Unfortunately, it is also a trap card.
Yeah, it is a continuous trap card, so it requires, like... And here's the problem. I don't think another thing that we didn't talk about, but you're going to see it even with the spell traps. Ashen is a deck that has a problem that it doesn't know whether it wants to go first or second, and not in the sense that you can play going first or second. It's more just like half their cards are like, oh, if your opponent has something on the board, we do shit. But also, we've given you turn 1 plays, like turn 0 plays and shit. So it's like... But it's also not like modern decks like K9 or even, Tearlament where, like, you can truly play turn 0. It's weird.
I think it's a turn 2 deck, but that's just because I really want to... If I ever built it, I want to lean into the Super Poly nature of it.
I think that's probably the better way to play it, is kind of like a blind second deck, where you, like, use cards like Vados to play on your opponent's turn. And you probably, because you have a remove brainwashing trap, you play kaijus. Like, is there a Pyro kaiju?
Kind of.
Well, no, that's not how that works. Dallas, is there a monster that's a Pyro that's a kaiju?
That is an official kaiju, no.
Okay.
There are monsters with kaiju-like effects that are Pyros.
That's true. You can do Volcanic Queen. She's a little weird, though.
Yeah, that's what. Well, also,
does she lock you to fire or Pyros?
Volcanic.
Lava Golem's a
I think she
fiend.
locks you to Pyros. Oh right, it is.
Yeah, no, Lava Golem's a fiend.
That's a
But yeah, I think also this deck did play Volcanic Queen, so that's a trick. Yeah, like in hypothetical brews. You're also, like, only technically, like, dark locked, and your field spell splashes anyway, so you could just play any kaiju you want. Just play, like, Radiant.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I wish Snake Eyes weren't so good, or else this card would probably not be banned. Or, not banned, limited.
Are you looking at Bonfire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that they made several good Pyro. Like, Bonfire was a card they printed much like King of the Feral Imps, like, right around the time they decided they were going to make Pyro good. It just so happens that Ashen is not real. Like, Ashen being Dark Pyro means that it doesn't really interface with other Pyro-type decks, so it's really weird. Whereas Snake Eye, obviously, Snake Eye, Fiendsmith, etc. Stuff, has a lot of good Pyro searching. And then also half the Ryzeals are Pyros. They're light Pyros or Fire Thunders. But yeah, like, Ashen for Eternity is a good concept, but it's a continuous trap in a deck that doesn't even say place face up a continuous trap. It says set from deck.
Yeah.
Next, we have another Ashen continuous spell, Ashen to Endlessness. It's really funny that this deck came out like over a year ago, like it was early 2024. This is like now I think we can safely say, because it came out this year. This is just the final boss of a Night Rain run. Well, if you get to the end of Elden Ring Night Rain, this is what it looks like. It's purple and there's sand everywhere. This is obviously Big Vados is like powering up by eating everybody's souls. So
He's
good for
casting
him.
the Spirit Bomb.
Yeah. So, Ashen to Endlessness, which again, also by the way, the grammar in English really sucks. This is just endless ashening in Japanese. That's way better. But So, Ashen to Endlessness is a continuous trap card that says, during the main phase, you can fusion summon one Pyro fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field, including a Vados. If you do, it gains 500 attack for each material used. You can banish, discard one Dark Pyro. All monsters your opponent controls become Pyro until the end of this turn. You can use each effect once per turn. So, this is a second wave card also. This feels like halfway through they realized, oh shit, our field spell not floodgating so we don't like break Super Poly is bad actually. So what if we gave them Super Poly and also gave them the ability to make all your opponent's monsters dark on your opponent's turns so you can Super Poly? It's, again, good in concept, but it is a field spell, so you got to set it up. Unfortunately, like, all of the, like, there are 11, I believe, Pyro Fusion monsters. They suck, mostly. You've got Embers, like, is a 2-target, so he's a good one. Technically, the Gem Knight ones are, like... Gem Knight's actually also just fucking good.
I think you're much more better off going with other polymerization stuff. And you doing... I think the Dark route is much more effective than the Pyro route for...
technically,
fusion.
like depending on the deck, Blaze Phoenix, because that's a Pyro plus a machine, could work.
If you're using that in a deck, then you're doing dumb things, and you should feel bad about yourself.
There's some ideas, but there's no support really for it.
I guess
Yeah,
I think
and
the
all
better
the other names
idea
are name
is to
locked.
go. I think going the Dark route as opposed to the Fusion route is much more effective.
Yeah, the Pyro part is just like they say you can fusion zone a Pyro Fusion monster. Again, this deck would be good if there were more better Pyro Fusions. Like I said, there's literally 11 of them. Almost all of them are archetype locked, like very few of them are generic. And 2 of them, which represents a significant portion in 11 monsters only, are old Duel Monsters era dog-ass fusions that don't mean anything. You've got like Vermilion Sparrow and like Cherubim Knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Gem Knight stuff technically might be usable because, like I said, Gem Knight is actually like now a good deck. Like straight up, Gem Knight's good.
But there's only
Like, it's a rogue
one
deck.
fusion that's a Pyro.
No, there's 2. It's
the second one? It's
Ruby and
Citrine,
Citrine.
yeah.
Citrine and Ruby. Ruby requires Garnet specifically though, so you're not going to be making him with this card
Yeah.
exactly.
Like I just think there's more to be gained by using dark than by, because like you can use all the Albaz fusions, the Predaplant fusions. There's so many good generic dark fusions that are just like,
Yeah.
why bother?
So I guess you play Lair instead.
You could use the Asmina stuff.
I mean, Azamina doesn't actually care about being dark. Like, Azamina has hooks for levels and then cheating. Like, literally as the White Forest Azamina player, I don't even fusion summon with materials. What's that? Who needs that shit? You just play Sinful Spoils.
Yeah.
I think I tried to hard make some of my fusion monsters and just realized it fucking sucks. We'll just use a,
You could do the Dark Magician stuff. Like, you could do a lot of stuff for Dark.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Pyro's bad for fusion.
It's like I said, they were onto something, but we didn't do enough to actually like make it work. Like, you need more Dark Pyros for it to be a thing.
Yeah.
So this is Extinguishing the Ashened, or Rage of the Ashened in the OCG. This shows our boy Hero breaking off his armor. He's getting mad. He's doing a phase transition, chat, even though he's the hero. By the way, that's another game that from. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have a second phase.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's another game that FromSoft should make. I said earlier they should make a game where there's no weapon builds. You can only play magical characters, and just figure out like the Souls-like style there. They should make a Dark Souls inspired game, not necessarily a Souls-like, but they should make a Dark Souls inspired game where you just play as Dark Souls type bosses. You don't play as a little guy anymore. Just figure out how to map like boss movesets to your moves. Don't know what else that game does.
Do you know there's only 5 Pyro archetypes?
Not shocked.
Yeah.
Let's see. Literally, there's 12 Dark Pyros, because this involves Dark Pyros. It's all of them. There's one more card who we'll talk about at the end of this list, because they technically made another Ashen card that's not an Ashen card. There's one of the Canines is a Dark Pyro. Lantern. There's 2 Evil Swarms that are Dark Pyros. Now, they're good. It's or at least one of the Lantern's good. Genuinely, I think you play O-Lantern in this deck because he's a Dark Pyro 4 that you can search.
Yeah, if you're doing Pure Ashen, I guess, I just would never try Pure Ashen.
Well, not just because you're playing Pure Ashen, Dallas, but also because that's a 4 you can search that has an effect that also you might overlay into something. And then there's 2 Centurions. I am also a Centurion, Andy. You would not catch me trying to build a Centurion Ashen Brew to save my life. That's a stupid idea.
That does sound dogging at it. Yeah, no. Like, I'm a slop guy, but that just doesn't work.
Just play Centurion. Just play other. There are other synchro archetypes you can play in that. So Extinguishing the Ashen, though, says send 1 Dark Pyro monster from your deck to the graveyard, then you get a level 5 or higher Pyro from your graveyard to your hand. For the rest of this turn, if this card evolves, you can't special summon from the extra deck except Pyro. You can banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon 1 Pyro fusion from your extra deck using materials from your hand or field. You can use each effect once per turn. This isn't like if Ashen was a better archetype, but this is another as our first actual normal spell card. Sorry, I'm speeding up my words. I'm trying to not take forever. We won't actually talk about Mitsurugi tonight because we spent too long talking about Dark Souls earlier, like we usually do.
Yep.
But no, it was good. We had a good conversation. You, Vesper, Axe, and myself actually all got to talk at different points during that time, which is rare.
Yeah.
The only reason why Loth didn't talk is because he wasn't here yet. I'm sure if we'd been talking about Dark Souls straight up, Loth would talk about Dark Souls.
Yeah.
That was a very even conversation.
But
if I could get a word in, but that's just because you know I don't like talking over other people.
Yeah. But Extinguishing the Ashen is in a vacuum, a really good spell card. Foolish Burial, add back a high level Pyro. Also banish it, to fusion summon from hand or field. Okay.
I think
That's good.
I think it's really good if you find a way to do and I don't think it's not viable. I think there are ways to do like add on the pyro part. I think the biggest one I can think of is like if you did an Ashen volcanic build. I think
a good way to add some guys.
Extinguishing the Ashen would be very good.
Yeah.
Because you could add Volcanic Emperor and stuff. But if you're doing my version of the deck, I would probably not run this much, because, like,
Let's see.
the Ashen don't really do a lot in your graveyard.
There's a weird... Yeah, it's just having Ashen in your graveyard turns Shaman on.
Wait, hold on. You have to send a Pyro.
Send a Dark
You have
Pyro.
to send a Pyro.
Add a level 5 or higher Pyro.
Okay.
There are some weird cards, like that are out there, but it's not.
Man, I can think of another way that you could make this deck way more viable.
Yeah.
If you could trigger Vados' summon effect from Grave.
Yeah, if he was from hand or grave, would be pretty good. Oh God, sorry,
Yeah.
I missed opportunity on Thestalos, Konami, making him still Fire Pyro, not Dark Pyro. If Thestalos was a Dark Pyro level 10 and not a Fire Pyro level 10, Shadow Fire Thestalos, I should say, that would be he'd be a great ad. I have realized I'm like looking at a lot of these little guys. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Sorry, one of the
idea.
Radiant Typhoons is a Wind Pyro. That's fucking sick, Konami. Keep cooking.
Okay. Omega, I had another idea for an Ashen deck.
What up?
Ashen branded Dinomorphia.
I mean, that would work, but also, if you're actually making Rexentrum, I have to kill you. It's just the rules, Dallas. I don't make them, but if you
I'd
make
probably only run one Rexentrum, because I'd have to have like one Music and one. Probably have like 15
Oh no,
fusion
you
cards,
have to
I
run
expect.
one skill drain. How terrible.
Honestly, my favorite Dinomorphia isn't even Rextrum. I like Stealth Bergia.
Oh, no. Dinomorphia would be a really cool deck, but the second wave of support gave them a skill drain, and that's all everybody does. It sucks. But yeah, no, like, looking at it, actually, I think the funny thing is, you should turn Ashen into a Uriah deck, Lord of Searing Flames. You play continuous traps.
Awesome.
You play continuous traps. You can search him with some of these cards. But yeah, Extinguishing the Ashen is a really good card. It's just that, again, the deck doesn't, like, do enough on its own to make it worth playing. Its advantage is it is technically generic enough.
Yeah, in that hypothetical, like, volcanic Ashen build, I definitely see this card being very good. Or any, like, could you do Snake Eyes? No, Snake Eyes doesn't play well with others.
Yeah.
What are the other part? Oh God, Hazy Flame.
No.
Wow, most of the Pyro archetypes are awful.
Like I said, Konami only... There's a reason why, like, Bonfire got printed when it did, because they were finally, like, trying to make it good.
It's pretty much just volcanic Ashens. I'm pretty sure.
So next we have Rekindling the Ashen. This shows Big Boy, Ember's trying to fight Vados. It's got a cool, like, action shot. Shows the scale really good, but this is a quick play that says place one of your...
Cooler.
Yeah. This says, quick play that says place one of your Ashen cards that's banished from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck, except Rekindling. Target effect monster put controls, negates effect until the end of this turn. You only activate one per turn. So, yeah, that's the thing, Dallas. You were like, oh, the Ashen cards don't do anything in your graveyard. They don't, other than be targets for other Ashen cards. Like, having an Ashen in graveyard sets up Rekindling or Shaman, but not a lot else. It's true.
Yeah. I mean, this card seems decent. Like,
I
yeah,
mean, you
no,
probably
th-
play
this
3 of it.
version's
It's
decent.
searchable.
I don't know if I'd play 3 of it. Maybe 2. I only know that because there's another Ashen spell card that I think is better. But I guess technically it's not an Ashen card.
Well, yeah, no. There is a Vados spell trap that's pretty important to this deck.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
It's like that's an important engine piece. Once again, like rekindling the Ashen is one of your few cards that actually interacts with your opponent that does something. So
If it wasn't for how much I want to lean in the super poly direction for this, I'd probably like it more.
this spell is Awakening.
But because I picture
of Vados.
myself doing super poly all day, I'm just like, it's cool, but meh.
I mean, yeah.
Awakening of Vados.
Yeah.
That's a really good art.
No, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. He's
It's
busting
coming
it.
out of
Like,
that
damn.
Pompeii volcano.
Yeah, but just like the coloring and the art, like how they did this art is just like...
Yeah.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Art is even more so than Magic art to me, very swingy in quality. This is chef's kiss.
So the problem with this card is you must run this at 3 of no matter what variant you're running. Like,
Yeah.
but it's not searchable because it's a Vados spell trap. But it is a quick play that says place Obsidian the Ashen City from your deck face up in either field zone. If your opponent controls a card in their field zone, add a level 5 or higher Dark Pyro from your deck to your hand. For the rest of this turn after resolves, you can only summon. You can't special summon from your deck or extra deck except Pyros. You only activate 1 Awakening per turn. So what this searches is obviously Vados, but also Hero and King. It could search the Dark Pyro K9. Not that that's like you wouldn't. There's not enough level 5s to play this as a K9 variant, so I don't think the fact that you can search Lantern is there. And then there's one more card you can search, but we'll talk about her later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
but-
like this card.
No, it's really good. The problem is that it's a Vados card, not an Ashen card, and they can't do this
Yes.
dumb. They did the thing that they need to stop doing. This should just say in parentheticals, this is always treated as an Ashen card, so you can search it.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have like a lot of really good spell. I don't even know if you have a normal spell trap searcher in this fucking deck, but this doesn't count as an Ashen card, so yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing about this card is in the builds I want to build of this deck, I might run it at 2. Just because it does lock the extra deck from Pyro into Pyro. But it's still very good.
Elements not in fucking Master Duel? What are you doing, Master Duel? You released it.
They're all
I
the same.
always
You released it both
Nice.
Tistina and fucking whatchamacallits? Ashen and didn't do it?
they still
They still haven't released Mimigul, have they?
No, Mimigul's out. I'm playing full power Mimigul. It's just
I
like
thought there
what?
were some Mimigul cards they haven't got.
Nope, they dumped them all at once. It's like other shit that's like super behind. Like I don't know when we're gonna get some stuff. Anyway, this is Chaotic Elements though. The card art's cool. I don't know what the fuck is supposed to be happening here. Let me see if I can find any notes in the trivia page.
what the
Yeah, so the wiki is trying to be like, so this is a crystal guy, so it's Tistina, but it's got purple flames, so it's Vados. Maybe?
I don't think it's either of them.
Well, it probably is supposed to be somewhat thematically related because there's definitely the only reason why Chaotic Elements exists is because of Tistina and Ashen. If you don't know what this card does,
I think it might be related, but
at a level. I mean, guess what, Dallas? There's no other archetype targets for it. It's there's a reason why this card exists to support these cards that have never existed before. So Chaotic Element said add a level 5 or higher monster, which is either light or dark, pyro or aqua. That's probably why it's Chaotic Elements. It's, you know, two opposed things from your deck or graveyard to hand. Then if you have 3 or more pyro or aqua monsters in your graveyard, destroy 1 card on the field. If your opponent controls a monster, light or dark, pyro or aqua, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one monster your opponent controls, take control until the end phase. Also, both Ashened, obviously, with Vados, but also Tistina can, like, give your opponent cards as well. You only use each effect once per turn. So, this was probably the like, card that, like, the OCG put out to kind of support these cards when they were being brought over. It's not the only card. They actually did give them an OCG first Ashen support later, which we will talk about. The main thing is just that, so what this card searches is every Tistina card that matters, every Ashen card that's high level.
Mm-hmm.
And also some tier element cards.
It searches. It works exactly on Kitkalos, but it doesn't because Kitkalos is a fusion monster.
Well, no, Havnus and Sheeran.
Not level 5, bud.
Isn't it? Oh, level 5. My bad.
Yeah, add a level 5 or higher from your deck or graveyard hand. So it can recycle your Kitkalos if you could play Kitkalos. It also works on Incantation Chalice Slime, which is a dark aqua, which is very funny. It works on both Yokul and Lantern, because Yokul is a dark aqua and Lantern is a dark pyro for K9. It works on Danger Nessie as a dark aqua. That's cute.
Oh yeah, it works on Dangers.
On one Danger, specifically. Only Nessie is a dark aqua.
Well, the best Danger. Well, one of the best Dangers.
There is a weird light pyro that's a V-Jump promo that's not out in the TCG yet called Odekus, the Shining Mars Saint, who is a level 5 light pyro. And I'll pull the card art up. It clearly is not doing anything related to, like, Ashen, other than maybe they've got a white color scheme with some fire. But it's just a guy. If you control a face-up card in your spell trap zone, you can special summon him. I think he's for rank 5 plays, like he's supposed to be like a bootleg K9 supporter or something.
What?
Because he, like, attaches to Xyz monsters. But he's another guy you can search off of Chaotic Elements.
Yes.
You can search the higher level Magistuses.
If you're playing Rush Duel, you can search Cosmic String Noodle Druidess.
It'd be really nice if we had the noodles or if we had Rush Duel, but we don't, so doesn't matter.
That's true.
You
could search Helios Duus Majestus. Which
yeah, I brought that up. You can add the two big Magistuses if you were doing that because those are light pyros.
Yeah.
That's why the you summon up decks, so there's no point.
But yeah, so Chaotic Elements isn't in Master Duel. Also, you know what's not in Master Duel? The Legacy support they added. That the OCG actually added for this, which is, let's see. Inferno of the Ashen.
Queen of the Damned?
No. That she's, that is, there is actually that card we're going to talk about because she is clearly, she feels like they wanted to do another, like they had a leftover art for Ashened, and then, but the archetype sucked. But no, the real card the OCG added that is actually an Ashened card is this one, Inferno of the Ashened. And I think you can tell this is an OCG one because, like, the art style is slightly different. Like, it feels like the colors are a little softer.
It feels like an Albaz art, weirdly enough.
This has Shaman on it. From behind, you can see your feet. The city's on fire. So what this does, this is a continuous spell card that says, when this card is activated, place an Obsidian from your deck face up on either field zone. It just does the thing that Awakening of Vados does, but it's an Ashened card. You can target one face-up card your opponent controls and one level 8 or higher Dark Pyro monster in your graveyard. Send that card on the field to the graveyard. If you do summon that monster to your opponent's field in defense position, you can use this effect once per turn. You can activate once per turn. So it just gives you another way to put Vados on the board while also not putting him in attack mode because his defense sucks. So you can, like, you know, run him over easier if you're playing going second shit. It also sends to graveyard, which is a really good form of removal. You do have to target, so targeting protection doesn't work. But, you know, it still does stuff. It also, like, works with other dark pyros to give your opponent.
Yeah.
You alright?
No, I was yawning. Yeah, there you go. I got your back for that comment. Ugh. I'm trying to load the tips page for them to give me other stuff, but no, there's not a lot of other high-level dark pyros to work with.
Let me check.
But Inferno of the Ashen is, like, clearly the Band-Aid card the OCG gave. It's not actually enough to save the archetype, but is a good card because it just gives you more Obsidian Searchers that you can place in your opponent's field, so you can do more Obsidian stuff. It's important, but, you know, like, not actually going to save the archetype.
Nah, it's okay. It's just so underwhelming.
It's just one of those things where, like, the OCG clearly identified a weakness in this archetype. Both times, like, Chaotic Elements does help the deck because it gives you yet another Vados Searcher, but also can search your high-level guys like Hero, which is actually, like, a decent card, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of shit. Sorry, I'm trying to search the fucking card art for this next one, and it's not coming because it's a Megaton card that, like, just came out. So you'll have to deal probably with the dreaded sample.
Low quality? Oh.
Because, like, I mean,
Sample all over
it's a
everything.
TCG exclusive card that just came out. Yeah, so the I just checked it. The level 8 or higher Dark Pyros is just Ashened cards and Queen of the Blazing Domain we're about to talk about. So yeah, like, Inferno lets you give your opponent other cards they can't use, so that's neat. But yeah, you know, I don't really know what your whole dealy bop would be, I guess, in that context. And so our next card is, it's a shame that there's not good card art of her, because she's really cool, but we don't have it. But I mentioned before, this card is named Queen of the Blazing Domain. We do already know what the Japanese, the OCG name of this will be. It's Monarch of the Heat Haze Palace. So, like, definitely, like, not directly an Ashened card, but she's a fucking Dark Pyro who's dressed like a Dark Souls character, so she's a fucking Ashened card. Shut up.
Oh, hate the Beast Nero.
No, Beast Nero wishes she has the best strip. Her
Yeah.
sword's not nearly this hard,
No.
this huge. This is literally a Dark Souls armor set, or,
Yeah,
or
pretty
an Elden
much.
Ring armor set. Like, it's just she's just in there. She's got, like, the white hair like a lot of Ashen do. You know, like I said, she's a little bit of a baddie, but it's just kind of vibing. So this is a level 9 Dark Pyro with 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Period. If this card's in your hand, target 2 cards you control, including a face-up spell trap. Destroy them. If you do, special summon this card. If you destroyed 1 card, return it to the hand during the end phase of the next turn. Or if you destroyed 2, this card gains this effect instead. Any monster sent from the field to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. You can use this effect once per turn. So she's a one-sided Macrocosmos. If you destroy 2 cards, you must destroy a spell trap card. That's okay. I mean, honestly, like, I think you probably play her just because of the funny interactions. Like, you can blow up your own Obsidian to start summoning guys out, like, as a starter sort of a thing. She's big. She's a Dark Pyro. She is a Floodgate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because she is
by
a
the way, I
one-sided
found-
macro.
I found exactly one more.
Dipping for that phone call, so I'll be back.
Yeah. So
If
we'll
you
be
guys
wrapping
still
up.
going. Okay.
I found exactly one more card that Chaotic Elements targets.
Oh, which one that matters?
It's technically being released in the OCG, so I don't even know if it's out yet. Oh, it's a V-Jump promo.
The
Wonderful.
Crystal guy? Yes, Crystal Soul Slicer.
Yeah.
There's a light Aqua they made who's like an old video game card.
Yeah, and it's like decent. It's a special summon monster negate, so
Yeah, so basically we
stuff
come to
with
the
it.
end of this, and like, we're much like with the rest of them, Queen of the Blazing Domain also fits with Ashen, because like she looks really cool, but I don't think she's a good card unless there's like an archetype that really wants you to be blowing up your own shit. That also wants to be Macrocosmos. I don't know.
honestly, this archetype is kind of weird. Because I feel like, unlike a lot of archetypes, they kind of nailed the boss monster, in my opinion. But the issue is with everything else.
I mean, I feel like they nailed the boss monster in that they made him a boss monster, but the problem is that, like, Vados control alone can't win the game. Because, like, even if you super poly him away like you're suggesting, Dallas, or don't super poly him, you use the continuous trap card because that gives him attack. To actually win the game, because he's like 3k, you'd have to, like, use literally every single card on the board to give him, like, you know,
That's what I'm
5,000
saying.
attack.
It's like this deck needs more stuff to do. Like, it has a good final boss monster, but it's not like it's not a boss monster that is big enough or hard to summon enough where it can be your entire strategy.
Yeah,
like
Fusion
Adagnister.
Vados isn't strong enough to be a
You know
boss
what
monster
Fusion
on his
Vados reminds me?
lonesome.
He's
not a
you know
towers,
what
you know.
Fusion Vados kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of like the branded boss monsters, where like they're good, but if you didn't have all of them, the deck wouldn't work.
Yeah, like say what you will about Brandon, and I will say what I want, because, like I said, I it's a deck that's like 5 years old, and it's like, I don't want to shame people for pet decking, but also, like, even I don't pet deck that hard. Get over it.
But
they
you
won't,
can
though, because
iterate on it, and
Konami,
unlike Red
yes.
Eyes, it doesn't not work. No offense, Omega.
Well, yeah, I haven't played Red Eyes for years because it doesn't. They haven't added anything new worth playing. I'll play Metal Morph instead because that uses Red Eyes monsters, but also is a deck that actually works. But no, like, I would also say, I mean, you can iterate on Branded. My problem with Branded players is they don't iterate on Branded. They just play Branded Bestial
don't.
over and over again.
No,
and it's like
there are two types of branded players, and I do, as the other type of branded player, I do shame the former, which is the people that just make slight adjustments to branded Bestial. If you're gonna jam branded, go fucking wild with it. Put a little spice in it.
Yeah, I've already seen people trying to figure out how to use the new Dark Lord support they announced to make it work with stuff, because like they name check Dark Fairies and shit. It's like,
See,
can you
that
do
is the kind of stuff I
Branded
like.
with a Luber, you know, and then also
That is the kind of
like,
stuff I like.
yeah. And maybe you can't,
That,
but
like, the branded Dinomorphia fucking action. That is the shit I live for, not the stupid. I'm just gonna try to make the Bestials work again. The Bestials are boring.
But what Ashen, like you said, what Branded brings is that they do have a whole menagerie of different toolbox guys, and like obviously some of their fusion monsters are worse than others, but you have multiple lines and branches you can go through to solve multiple problems.
Yeah.
Ashen can't do that. Ashen can't solve multiple problems. It has exactly 2 fusion monsters.
No.
They're okay,
And
but
one
they
of
don't
them is
like
kind of bad.
Ember
I'm not gonna
basically
lie, Ember's
exists
is
as
not
like
good.
a payoff to out Vados, but you don't need to do that because what you do is you super volley Vados effectively. You slurp Vados up off the board into a fusion monster.
Let's be fair. It outs an opponent's monster no matter what it is, because you can destroy one Pyro monster, and if you're
It's
playing
true.
the deck right, your opponent's monsters are Pyro.
Yeah, the way you play the deck is because it's while you're attacking, so it's on your turn, so they're
So it's
pyros.
not
So you attack
totally
and you blow.
useless, but it still is only 2 fusion monsters, whereas Branded has like.
And they don't have
7?
any other extra deck support. And like I brought up, I do keep bringing this up. There are very good rank 4 pyros that you can play, that are searchers. Like what's her face? Is it
I know what you're talking about.
Flame Banshee?
Yeah, Inferno Flame something. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Infernal Flame Banshee.
Yeah.
But like I said, I advocate for this in a fusion slop deck. I know slop is slop used affectionately here. Like just throw it together with some other, because dark fusion is like there's like 15 archetypes.
Yeah,
you
but
don't
also
have to purely go dark.
even then I kind of feel disappointed because then it's like that feels like if you're like getting around it by going the dark route is like obviously that's better, but also there are pyro locks in this deck for one, and also they're dark pyros. That's like very unique. So it's kind of sad that like
I think
their
Vados,
strongest route
I do
is
think,
to go the other way.
Here's my
Because dark
opinion
obviously is
on
very
it.
strong in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I think Vados control. I know you said it's not viable. I actually do like Vados as a strategy. So kind of main decking like maybe 3 Vados, 3 Priestess, and then one of the rest of the names for the main deck.
Well,
and
like
then
I said,
sprucing it up with like putting it as the main feature in a fusion slop deck, but just like sprucing it up with like a couple of other cards, like a Dasher and a Celestial there, or like.
Well, yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Just
I
like
want to
a
say this:
couple of cards.
people experimented with the Vados splash. Like I said, the idea was that he was a tech card against field spell decks. The problem is that immediately after that, the meta was like, we don't actually care about field spells that much.
Yeah. I think this deck is viable with support. Like genuinely. I know I said it jokingly, but genuinely I do think like Ashen's Branded is a legitimate thing you could brew pretty well, and it could do pretty well just because it adds that suite of monsters to kind of like you have the control elements with like Big Mama Vados and that, but you just don't have the enough attack power for a final push.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, where you need to get the splashing involved. Is like you just can't. You can destroy their board, but you can't kill them.
Yeah. The problem is, I think that like doing. Like, even, you can splash Vados, but then you need to splash a couple of different things to summon him, because even Vados isn't an Ashen card, so, like, you can't.
Well, no, I'm saying splash
Priestess, right?
the other cards into Ashen.
Well, yeah, then the problem then is if you splash, which I think this deck does want you to do, is if you're using all your Ashen tools, you're gonna get Pyro locked, which is a problem because Pyro is not good.
Where are the Pyro logs? There's not that many Pyro
on the trap.
logs.
I
do think the trap. I do think the Ashen for Eternity is just not a card I'm interested in because of the Pyro lock. I think Ashen's to Endless is great for the graveyard effect. Personally, I love that.
Yeah, no. That I like I said, that was a second wave card, but that was very clearly like they saw what the problems would be, so they were like, "Hey guys, we couldn't make it too easy for you to super poly, but we gave you options to both
it's pretty
fusion
much
summon."
It's pretty much just Awakening from Vados, but like you can order your like turn so you do that last. I feel like.
And actually, no,
Action
Action for Eternity doesn't have a Pyro lock. The problem with Action for Eternity is just like that feels like a backup plan. Action for Eternity is like if your opponent stops you from like polying, like fusing away the Vados on their field, you go, okay, buddy, give me my fucking Vados back. All your monsters are minus 2,800.
No, I think it's a lot. I know the Awakening from Vados has a Pyro lock, but that's really the only important card that does.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you order your turn
it is a quick
correctly,
play, so you could work around it.
Make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I
there's a
said,
little
I don't
room.
think it's
just one of
as
those things.
this isn't like Hero where you literally can't do anything else.
Yeah, where it becomes a proper bottleneck.
Or DDD where it has like 15 locks. It's really, I think if you build the deck right and you play around it right, I think there are viable builds with splashing. I just don't think it has enough juice on its own to be a deck.
I think I looked at it in EDO Pro. I should look at it again with like some of the other support and like try to build a.
I'm not gonna lie. I really am looking into this Dinomorphia branded idea and being like,
Of course.
I think this will work.
I-
Well, no, because like you have like Stealth Bergia for Attacks Dragon. You have what's the not Mirror Jade, the dark the fire guy,
Albalanatus?
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Albalanatus. You have the Rindbrum, the Mecha Dragon. I don't know. I think you could do some fun stuff with this.
Like, honestly, I feel like the main problem is that they don't have a strong enough extra deck on their own, because you're not playing 3 copies of Embers and 3 copies of Big Vados. Like, maybe you play 2 Big Vadoses if you want
I think you play one. I think you play 1 Big Vados, 2 Ember, and then another suite from other archetypes. Because like the fact that Ember can destroy any monster can be useful for some monsters. Because I think it, like it just does out things. I don't know.
I'll take a look because YGO Pro has a Genesis builder.
I don't think it's complete, but like ass. Like
I could see me trying to make this a mostly like Ashen Brew for like Genesis. Well, chat. Again, I need to get some schedules. We need to have like at least 4 people for most of the night to do like either cubes or do like a Genesis, beta test night. So we'll have to see where the scheduling goes there. But we will do some Genesis content because it's a funny idea. I know that Dallas and Lothbo said they're less excited because of the no pendulums, but I still think there's some jank you can brew.
Oh, I could still come up with some. You know me. I'll build something that you guys will call a sin against God.
Okay.
I will build the first sin.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get the YGO Pro deck builder to be in Genesis format. But I'll actually take a look at brewing an Ashen deck like under Genesis if there's some like using the power of like I said, worst comes to worst, you can just splash some Pot of Greed so you always see your guys, That's probably not what I would do actually, by the way. I would probably be using my points to play like maybe some hand traps and then play like terraforming actually.
Realistically, if I were going to do a Genesis deck, it would probably be some manner of insect deck.
Honestly, there's probably room for that. I think Bee Trooper's mostly on hit. You could probably play Bee Trooper.
Not Bee, the superior Bee Trooper, Battle Wasp.
Well, Dallas, the joy is, I think, with modern Battle Wasp is you get to play Bee Trooper in Battle Wasp, so you have extra materials.
And then also Big Ballpark. I told you, I am a slop deck person.
Yeah.
This is how I work.
Well, that'll be perfect. You playing Giant Ballpark will be perfect for my Ashen Vados deck because I could be like, get that shit out of here. Vados, blow up the baseball stadium.
And then I'll just be summoning a bunch of extra deck monsters and you're just going to look at me like, what? What's this?
But yeah, so...
Can you deal with... what the fuck is that? Oh god. The perfectly ultimate Great Moth retrain they just made.
I don't actually know because I don't remember all the
Ultimate Great Insect. Look, Insect has some funny cards. And can you out Infinite Antlion? Just can you do it?
That is always a question, right?
Yeah. No, Insect decks are funny. Also, what even restricted cards would I need to play?
You'd have to look.
Because I assume
the
all the
list.
hand traps are like 50. Like I'm not.
No. They're like I said, they're like 10 or 15 usually. A couple of the really like the Fualoses are like 20. The only one that's really expensive is Maxi, which is 50. So it's like, okay, you can play 2 Maxi if you play literally nothing else cool in your deck.
I'd want to. I probably is Speedward Terratop points.
Might be.
Oh,
Like I said,
that's only 3 points.
We'll be doing a Genesis Brews later. But thanks everybody for tuning in. This was a poll result. So we'll be running a new monthly poll soon. Check out our Patreon. Please check out our Patreon. Help me. Share this video with your friends. Give it a like. Give it a hype. I don't know, man, how YouTube does stuff, but like, give me the juice. Give me your juice, chat, if you're still here, so that we can afford to keep doing Failed Portrayal. It's a little bit of a joke. But there will be a Patreon poll. After that, other than that, like we might get back to Mitsu sometime, but my current plan would probably be what's based on my notes is, assuming I can get a Dallas sometime, is we do have penciled in to be talking about Adignister and AI cards, because we've been kind of working our way through the Cybers and Firewall, like the Code Talker and Firewall goop. Which the way they have done the latest Adignister support, like, is kind of like the higher level form. But also Adignister has a really, I think, good archetype drive, which is they have a bunch of different attributes as well that leads into a big cool guy.
Yep. Yeah. We talked about, like, it's not usually viable to just make one boss monster. Well, Adignister is kind of the exception.
Yeah, you make a big ass guy. And certainly, like, he's the the Link.
Who's a super towers.
There's like 2 Link 6s, and the new Firewall Dragon is not as cool as him. They tried.
No.
But yeah, so we're gonna wrap up here. Don't forget to like and comment. Check us out, tomorrow for more Final Fantasy 14. I'll probably be finishing up my Relic grind. We're about a week out from the new patch, so no new content yet there. We didn't stream Monday. Lucky had company, so we weren't streaming. We're probably going to get back to Rogue Trader at least one more time, but then I think it'll be October properly, so we'll probably be getting started on a Resident Evil. I'm going to aim for 7, because I don't have to buy anything then. If we want to co-op 5, I have to pay $20.
Resident Evil 7 is a joy to... I don't usually, like... You know me, I have bad taste in media. Games is usually the exception, because, like, bad games are usually just not fun. Resident Evil 7 is, like, an exception of that.
I mean, I also don't think Resident Evil 7 is that bad of a game. It's, like, award-winning, like, completely revitalized their franchise.
I was thinking of 6.
We've also talked about 6, but that's another one that's like we don't want to do that one willy-nilly. It's funny, but I don't want to be bogged down. I would also have to pay $20 for that.
It's so funny.
We may get to doing some more REs, but like I said, I'm going to try and talk Lucky into doing 7 right away with him in the driver's seat, but we'll see. We might do 5 co-op. Like I said, get some channel memberships. Give us some channel memberships, support us on Patreon, that kind of stuff. Make my spending $20 on RE5 easier. You don't have to give me the whole $20, chat. You can just, chip in like $2, $5, and then, a few of you do it, and I can have extra cash to not be worried about that. Not think, $20, that's, a decent chunk of my a grocery bill I could be paying. I know it's the Omega complains about money, but it's the end of the month. It's a perfect time to show the Patreon. Check out the Patreon.
I just got here. What happened?
Well, we're ending. I'm shilling the Patreon. Because this was a Patreon poll pick to remind Loth and remind everyone at home.
What is my default on the poll now?
I don't know. I don't think you said it. I think you thought of it, but you
finally
say
picked gimmick puppets.
I have to ask everybody because I don't think we've got enough for a best of the worst type poll anymore. So we'll have to take some more names. Like I still have a few things, but I'll ask in the chat for the upcoming week to refresh everybody.
Gotcha.
We'll figure this out of stream.
Other than that, everybody, just keep your eyes peeled for other stuff coming out, and we'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.
Night, everybody.